Chapter 304. A Bunch of Lunatics. After muttering, Palace Master and Fong shot a cold glance at Su Yu and shook her head. I would like to take this opportunity to teach you a lesson. If you do not know what's good for you, however, just as she finished speaking, Su Yu's indifferent voice could be heard. Thunder Star Finger. Creak. A purple thunder ball the size of an eyeball could be seen on Su Yu's index finger, emitting wild thunder arcs. Looking at it, the thunder ball was formed by densely packed thunderbolt. Every bolt contained a frightening thunderbolt energy. The whole ball contained hundreds of thunderbolts. When combined, the destructive power of the thunderbolts was shocking. The aura it emitted was not inferior to the beginner-level Buddhist saint's 8 characters. The dazzling thunderlight made Su Yu's face look extremely strange. His silver hair was also dyed a strange purple by the purple light. His eyes, which were as deep as the starry sky, were like black holes at that very moment. Palace Master and Fong's expression froze and she exclaimed, "Stage 1 top class of an immortal level technique. How did you do that?" In terms of age, Palace Master and Fong was 20 years old and Su Yu was 16 years old. However, Palace Master and Fong had been studying the remnant of an immortal level technique since she was young. Even after 10 years, she had only managed to comprehend Stage 1 upper class. She was still a step away from Stage 1 top class. However, Su Yu attacked like lightning and Palace Master and Fong could only receive his attack hurriedly. Heavy Flower Shadow. Palace Master and Fong gathered her spirit energy on her palm. Vaguely, flowers filled the sky. The palms of flowers, which were like overlapping shadows, collided with each other brazenly. Rumble. One was gentle while the other was forceful. The collision, which should have cancelled each other out, let out a shocking rumble. The flower shadows scattered and were annihilated by the purple thunder arcs that filled the sky. Palace Master and Fong's yellow-clothed figure was like a flower petal, flying backward with fresh blood. That face was filled with pain, shock, and fear. She was not a match for Su Yu. Her confidence was shattered at that very moment. Do you understand that you are actually unable to withstand a single blow? At that moment, a cold voice sounded beside her ears. Palace Master and Fong saw from the corner of her eyes that Su Yu had taken the opportunity to chase after her. She panicked. "What are you doing? We are both Vice Palace Masters. Are you going to attack me too heavily?" Su Yu laughed coldly. "Vice Palace Masters? So you also know that we are both Vice Palace Masters." An outsider didn't care that I was at a critical juncture in my breakthrough, didn't care that I went berserk, didn't care that my life was in danger, and forcibly captured me. What were you, a Vice Palace Master like yourself, doing? When Zi Yunxiang begged you twice, as a Vice Palace Master, what did you do? She was injured by someone, but the first strike was not at the hands of an outsider, but at the hands of you, one of her own. You! Do you think of yourself as the Vice Palace Master of the Northern Continent's Imperial Dynasty? When an outsider bullied a weak Vice Palace Master, you didn't draw your blade to help, you didn't protect your junior, and you didn't fulfill your duty as a senior. Instead, you showed off your power and forced them to kneel. Instead, he looked on coldly from the sidelines. It had nothing to do with him. Instead of teaching an outsider a lesson, they are ruthless to their own people. What kind of Vice Palace Master are you? Pa. Su Yu's palm ruthlessly slapped Deputy Palace Master and Fong's face. Immediately, blood splattered everywhere, leaving behind a bloody mark on Vice Palace Master and Fong's face. Rumble, puff. Palace Master and Fong was sent flying, crashing into the wall. She covered her burning face, extremely embarrassed. You humiliated me. Pa, however, what answered her was Su Yu, who had caught up with her, slapping the other half of her face. After leaving behind a bloody mark, he slapped Palace Master and Fong until blood splattered everywhere. The first strike is the price you have to pay for helping an outsider. The second strike is the price you have to pay for harming Zi Yunxiang. Palace Master Enfang was extremely embarrassed. She was actually slapped twice in front of everyone. From now on, she would no longer have any authority in the Northern Continent's Imperial Palace. I will remember you. Palace Master Enfang's eyes shot out a venomous light, glaring at Su Yu. Puff, however, a leg stepped on her chest ruthlessly, causing her chest to cave in slightly. Her bones cracked with a cracking sound. Palace Master Enfang spat out blood mixed with pieces of flesh from her mouth. Her eyes, which had turned red from the intense pain, were filled with shock and disbelief. Su Yu actually dared to injure her severely. Feeling the continuous pressure on her chest, she realized that Su Yu was going to take her life. You. What do you want to do to me? The venomous light in Palace Master Enfang's eyes was replaced by fear. Thinking about how Su Yu dared to kill Deputy Palace Master Zhang Jian, Palace Master Enfang's body trembled, her fear growing. Su Yu retracted his leg apathetically, coldly saying, I am just teaching you when to be arrogant and when to keep a low profile. Although the people of the Inu Manor were expressionless, it was not difficult to see the excitement in their eyes. From their point of view, it was too satisfying. Palace Master Enfang was beaten into a dead dog by Su Yu, but she did not restrain herself. She even dared to look at Su Yu with venomous eyes. This kind of woman, who thought highly of herself, should be beaten to death. As expected, Palace Master Enfang clutched her chest. Her previously ferocious expression was replaced by fear in the blink of an eye, tears rolling down her cheeks. Su Yu let out a light hum, no longer looking at her. His gaze drifted to another person. Zhou Ruoting leaned against the wall of the courtyard, elegantly standing there. She wore a mocking smile, coldly clapping, "Haha, interesting. You have really broadened my horizons." Su Yu looked at her calmly. "Yes, what do you want? Just say it. You only have 5 minutes." His overbearing attitude caused Zhou Ruoting to laugh coldly. "Do you really think that I am comparable to a small fry like Palace Master Enfang? If you want to teach me a lesson, I'm afraid that you will be disappointed. I am Lord Bai Luo's subordinate, a first-class maid. Under Lord Bai Luo's orders, I am bringing you back to accept your punishment. Furthermore, you had better tell me the whereabouts of leader Tai Mu truthfully, when he came, and whether he left any clues behind after he left. Tell me everything." Lord Bai Luo was indeed him. If he did not remember wrongly, leader Tai Mu's master, Inspector Bai He, had rushed to the North Continent from thousands of miles away to order Ling Xiaotian to hand over the 10 deputy palace masters that he had nurtured to Lord Bai Luo. As for Li Tianxiang, he seemed to have a close relationship with Lord Bai Luo. At this moment, he was taking the opportunity to make things difficult for Su Yu. "Haha, you are very surprised, right? My identity is far beyond your imagination. If you are tactful, cooperate immediately," Zhou Ruoting said proudly. Unexpectedly, Su Yu regained his senses, looked at her, and said indifferently, "You keep saying and I thought that you were a great person. So, you are only a maid who knows how to act according to others' wishes." Zhou Ruoting's expression turned slightly stiff, her face slightly cold. Her lips curled into a cold smile. "You are stubborn. There is no need for me to talk to people like you. Surrender immediately. Otherwise, haha." Russell Zhou Ruoting's figure flashed. Her fair hand turned into a claw, tearing through the air and grabbing towards Su Yu. How was this capturing alive? She was clearly killing him on the spot. A strong wind blew Su Yu's silver hair, his cold and deep eyes appearing abruptly. "Looks like you have nothing else to do. Since that is the case, pay your debt with your blood." Su Yu had almost suffered from cultivation deviation and died a few times. Zi Yunxiang was severely injured, fainting on the spot. Chapter 305. I am a servant of Lord Bai Luo. You, a mere deputy palace master, dare to touch me? Zhou Ruoting let out a light laugh, looking down on the deputy palace master. You are just a servant, Don't think of yourself as a joke. Su Yu calmly replied. In the headquarters of the Empire of Darkness, her status was low, and she had to bow and scrape. Now that she had come to the sub-palace, her confidence had swelled, and she looked down on people outside of the headquarters. To put it bluntly, she was like a dog that relied on its master's power, forgetting her own status. That was why she dared to interrupt the breakthrough of a deputy palace master, and dared to injure the deputy palace master's people. Even if I am just a servant, a mere deputy palace master like you cannot compare to me. Zhou Ruoting lifted her chin, letting out a cold grunt. Whoosh! Zhou Ruoting's movement technique was extremely fast, and she grabbed Su Yu's shoulder fiercely. It's over, deputy palace master. Is that so? Su Yu said coldly. Thunder Star Finger. The purple ball of lightning revolved on Su Yu's fingertip, and with the power of lightning, he pointed it forward. A dreamy purple light illuminated the sky. But Zhou Ruoting's expression was calm. She grabbed at Su Yu's claw, her 5 fingers gathering spirit energy. Green Mountain Clear Water Seal. 5 spirit energies intertwined, forming a seal the size of a palm. Creak. The ball of lightning formed by the Thunder Star Finger was destroyed on the spot. This was the first time they had exchanged blows, and Su Yu's extremely powerful attack was unable to do anything to his opponent. Palace Master Enfang was shocked. What terrifying abilities! The attack of a Stage 1 top-class immortal level technique was easily neutralized. A shred of hatred shot out from deep within her eyes. You are finished. Easily neutralizing Su Yu's strongest attack, Zhou Ruoting let out a mocking smile. Deputy Palace Master, with your noble status, you only have this little ability? You really scare me. Laughing coldly, Zhou Ruoting shook her head, her palm striking toward Su Yu's shoulder. Today, I will teach you that when you are weaker, you must learn to lower your head like a dog. Su Yu looked up, letting out a cold laugh. Only when you are used to being a dog would you wish for others to be a dog. You are indeed a servant, so lowly from the bottom of your heart. These words seemed to provoke Zhou Ruoting. Her face turned stern. I will tear your dog mouth apart. As Su Yu took a light breath, the spiritual energy of the world suddenly became violent, and a destructive power was quickly brewing in his mouth. Then, I will teach you what it means to be superior to others. Su Yu's eyes turned cold, and he opened his mouth to spit out a destructive sound wave. Buddhist Saints 8 characters. Confrontation. Zhou Ruoting was less than 5 feet away and was caught off guard. Her gloomy face suddenly stiffened and her pupils gradually shrank. Her eyes widened and she said, "What kind of skill is this? How is this possible?" Her red lips let out a loud and miserable cry of pain, and an arrow of blood spurted out from her mouth. Her graceful and delicate body was like a broken flower, drifting dozens of meters away and smashing into a pile of ruins. Her green dress was destroyed by the destructive sound waves, revealing her snow-white and mature body in the air. Zhou Ruoting cried out in surprise and covered the 2 round lumps in front of her chest. Her beautiful face was filled with shock and anger. You dared to humiliate me. Lord Bai Luo will not forgive you. Thunder Star Finger. But Su Yu did not have any protective feelings for the fairer sex. He continued to attack the heavily injured Zhou Ruoting. Rumble, with a pathetic cry, the naked Zhou Ruoting was sent flying. The naked Zhou Ruoting was sent flying. Her entire body was naked as she rolled in front of the Inu manor. Pooh! Zhou Ruoting lay on the ground, spitting out a mouthful of fresh blood mixed with flesh. Her face was filled with shock and anger. Thump! Su Yu walked over, looking down from above. Did your Lord Bai Luo not teach you to lower your head like a dog when your abilities are inferior to others? This is the outcome of trying to bark like a dog. The same words were thrown back at Zhou Ruoting, causing her to be extremely embarrassed. Inu, I swear that I will never. Thump! A foot suddenly stepped on her abdomen. The shocking force almost crushed Zhou Ruoting's internal organs. Large pieces of flesh and blood spurted out from her mouth. Her snow-white abdomen was a mess of flesh and blood. The onlookers were shocked awake from their erotic fantasies. Their bodies trembled, and their gazes toward Su Yu were filled with fear. What a merciless palace master! To think that a beautiful woman like Zhou Ruoting could bear to be so defiled and resplendent. You still can't learn how to lower your head like a dog. Su Yu shook his head coldly. Do you think a lowly servant like you has the right to use the word master in front of me? In the headquarters of the Empire of Darkness, you are a servant. In front of me, you are still a servant. I will teach you on behalf of your lord Bai Luo, what is the difference in status. Su Yu had no sympathy for a woman like her, who did not know the immensity of heaven and earth. If not for Zi Yunxiang stopping her for a moment, Su Yu would have forcefully interrupted his breakthrough and gone berserk. If not for him breaking through in time, Zi Yunxiang would have been killed on the spot. There was no pity in killing this kind of woman. Zhou Ruoting's eyes were burning with the flames of extreme anger. A mere deputy palace master of a sub-palace dared to treat her this way. If she did not take revenge, she would not be human. Thump! Almost at the same time as she shot a hateful gaze, her abdomen suffered another kick. This stomp had broken several of his ribs. The bone spikes pierced through her flesh, dripping with fresh blood. Ah! Zhou Ruoting let out a pathetic cry, like a pig being slaughtered. The people of the Inu Manor felt a chill run down their spines. Was he trying to torture her to death? At this moment, everyone felt a chill in their hearts as they looked at Su Yu. Even Palace Master and Fong was trembling, her eyes filled with fear. At this moment, she finally understood how lenient Su Yu was toward her. Compared to the pitiful Zhou Ruoting, Su Yu was too kind. Finally, Zhou Ruoting let go of her stance for the first time, despite the intense pain. She looked Su Yu in the eyes for the first time. From those eyes, she finally saw a deep killing intent. Su Yu wanted to kill her. Fear spread through her heart. Zhou Ruoting felt helpless. Her identity as Lord Bai Luo's first-grade servant had crumbled in an instant. She finally understood how insignificant her identity was in Su Yu's eyes. The arrival of death and the fear of helplessness caused the proud her to tear up. Her mouth was filled with blood as she sobbed. I'm sorry, don't kill me." Su Yu's eyes were filled with killing intent, showing no signs of weakening. This woman deserved to die. But at this moment, the unconscious Zi Yunxiang was woken up by the commotion. She lay in the pavilion, tilting her head, weakly shouting, "No, no." Killing leader Tai Mu was already difficult to clear his name. Killing Zhou Ruoting would make it difficult to clear his name. Su Yu was determined to kill Zhou Ruoting, partly for himself, but more so to help her vent her anger. She already owed Su Yu countless favors. She could not owe him any more. Su Yu's expression relaxed. He looked at Zhou Ruoting coldly, his killing intent fading. "You should be grateful that she was not killed by you. Otherwise, you would already be a dead person." Zhou Ruoting secretly heaved a sigh of relief, her fear fading quickly. She had sensed that Su Yu might not dare to kill her. No matter what, she was still Lord Bai Luo's first-grade servant. Even Zi Yunxiang knew that she could not be killed, let alone Palace Master Inu. The killing intent just now was most likely an act. Rustle with Su Yu's support, Zi Yunxiang walked in front of Zhou Ruoting. She took off her outer garment, covering Zhou Ruoting. Her naked body was covered. Zhou Ruoting was expressionless, her eyes filled with disgust and disdain. But she did not dare act up. She did not appreciate Zi Yunxiang's good intentions. "Miss Zhou, please do not find trouble with me. I can only save you this once." "Save me this once?" Zhou Ruoting snorted. Even without Zi Yunxiang's permission, Su Yu might not dare to kill her. As if sensing Zhou Ruoting's disdain, Zi Yunxiang sighed, silently standing up. "Wait," Zhou Ruoting calmly said. "Where is leader Tai Mu? Did he come?" He looked at Su Yu with a bit of respect, and his tone became slightly gentler. That, I no longer care about your matters. However, when Leader Tai Mu is leaving, please let me know. She had to capture Su Yu and find Leader Tai Mu. She had two tasks at the same time. Leader Tai Mu? The Inu Manor crowd had a strange expression. Only Su Yu calmly said, Him? He left 5 days ago. Where did he go? Zhou Ruot increased her brows. If he left 5 days ago, why did he not report back? Su Yu lowered his head, calmly saying, Of course, he went to the underworld. The underworld? Zhou Ruoting's body shook, her pupils dilating. He's dead? Who killed? Zhou Ruoting's words stopped, abruptly lifting her head, looking at Su Yu in fear. Her voice trembled. You killed him? Su Yu's expression was cold. Why, you want to go down as well. Rumble. It was as if thousands of lightning bolts were exploding in Zhou Ruoting's mind. Who was this palace master Inu? To have the guts to kill Leader Tai Mu? He was the leader of Inspector Bai He's guards. In terms of status, he was a whole level higher than a maid like her. Hearing the killing intent in Su Yu's words, Zhou Ruoting lowered her head in panic, shaking her head in fear. No, I did not. I was just shocked. Su Yu let out a cold laugh. What are you shocked about? Shocked that I dared to kill your so-called envoy from the headquarters? Even if Lord Bai Luo came personally, if he dared to harm my people, I would kill him without hesitation. Zhou Ruoting's body trembled, completely in fear. At this moment, she finally understood that Zi Yunxiang had really saved her life. He dared to kill even Leader Tai Mu, much less her? If not for Zi Yunxiang's timely warning, she would already be a cold corpse. Yes. Zhou Ruoting was trembling in fear. Su Yu swept his gaze past them. The two of you will wait in my manor for a day, then follow me to the Lingxiao Palace. Being swept by Su Yu, Palace Master and Fong shuddered. All right, we will listen to you. Zhou Ruoting was even more submissive. We will listen to Palace Master Yin Yu's orders. The two of them had originally wanted to capture Su Yu and bring him to the Lingxiao Palace. In the end, they had to listen to Su Yu's orders. Returning to the house, he sent spirit energy into Zi Yunxiang's body to heal her injuries. Zi Yunxiang's face was filled with worry. Yin Yu, have you really decided to head to the Lingxiao Palace? If you escape now, you might still be able to make it in time. The investigation team from the Empire headquarters was waiting at the Lingxiao Palace. Rushing there now was no different from sending a sheep into a tiger's mouth. Su Yu slowly retracted his palm, sighing. I am innocent. If I escape now, my crime will be confirmed, and I will have no chance to defend myself. Furthermore, with the power of the Empire of Darkness, you might be able to escape now, but not forever. Su Yu calmly said. Rather than that, why not head to the Lingxiao Palace to face the court? There might be a chance then. Furthermore, I believe that Palace Master Ling will give me a fair punishment. In the past, Ling Xiaotian had invited him to join the Empire of Darkness, promising that he would be treated fairly. As a person, he would not lie. Zi Yunxiang lowered her head, clenching her fist. I will follow you. She was worried that Su Yu would meet with misfortune. After thinking for some time, Su Yu did not object. All right. The mysterious leader of the Black Water Pirates had always wanted to hold Zi Yunxiang hostage, forcing him to hand over the key. Leaving Zi Yunxiang alone in the Inu area was ultimately a hidden danger. It was better to bring her along. Zi Yunxiang revealed a smile. Thank you. If she had the chance, she would repay Su Yu's kindness. After resting for a day, Zi Yunxiang's injuries were mostly healed. Palace Master and Fong had basically recovered, but Zhou Ruoting could only lie down, her injuries not yet healed. Chapter 306. Palace Master Inu, why did you bring me along? To take credit from the great Palace Master? I am still of some use to you. Tu Long was also brought along by Su Yu, and he laughed at himself. Su Yu looked at his empty right arm and said calmly, I have my reasons for bringing you along. Just follow me. Tu Long was shocked. after which, he let out a desolate smile. This trip to the dark forest does not bode well for me. If it is possible, I would like Palace Master Inu to make a trip to the Forest of Darkness on my behalf to meet someone. Dark Forest? Suyu did not respond. Originally, even without me, second brother would have gone. Unfortunately, since you surrounded the Black Water Pirates that day, I believe that he has already died in your hands, right? Tu Long said calmly. There was no hatred in his eyes. He knew how many tragedies the Black Water Pirates had caused to the Inu area. It was only natural for Suyu to exterminate the Black Water Pirates. If I die, I hope that Palace Master Inu will bring my ashes to the Tu family of the Anua city in the Forest of Darkness. Tell them that their unfilial descendants, Tu Long, have let them down. Tu Long's face was filled with disappointment. I will write a letter of divorce. They will give you a chance to enter the 10,000 soldier pool. Suyu's brows creased slightly. 10,000 soldier pool, what is that? Unexpectedly, Hall Master Enfang, who was at the side, was shocked. She couldn't help but cry out involuntarily, Anua City's 10,000 soldier pool? How are you related to the Tu family? Palace Master Enfang had actually blurted out Tu Long's surname. Even Zhou Ruoting, who was in the Empire's headquarters, had a huge change in expression after hearing this. She said in shock, You, don't tell me you're from the Tu family of Anua City? Impossible. If you are from the Tu family, why are you here? Was the Tu family from the Dark Forest very famous? Tu Long laughed at himself. I'm just an unfilial descendant of the Tu family. I have no face to call myself a member of the Tu family. Suyu looked toward Zhou Ruoting. Which force is the Tu family? If he remembered correctly, the Dark Forest was located at the border between the northern continent and the eastern continent. It was vast and boundless. Anua City was located in the northern continent. It was jointly controlled by the three great forces of the North Continent, the Snow Listening Tower, the Phoenix Cabinet, and the 100 Territories Alliance. What was going on with the Tu family? Zhou Ruoting did not dare to hesitate. The 8 surnames of Heaven and Earth, Legend of Qin, Bright Moon, Ghost Slaughters 10,000 Miles. These 8 surnames are the 8 most ancient surnames since the beginning of the world. Their time is as long as the Empire of Darknesses, long and endless. The Tu clan is one of the 8 great clans. They have been hiding in Anua City for a long time. I've heard Lord Bailuo say that if you get the Tu clan, you will be able to rule the world. The reason was the Tu family's 10,000 soldier pool. The 10,000 soldier pool is rumored to be a divine artifact graveyard. Countless damaged divine artifacts are deposited in the pool. Originally, there was nothing special about this place. However, for countless years, every generation of the Tu family had used their special bloodline to irrigate the 10,000 soldier pool, causing it to mutate. The damaged divine weapons inside had fused with the bloodline of the Tu family members, and a mysterious spiritual liquid had been produced, which could activate divine weapons. Initializing a divine artifact? Suyu's heart suddenly shrank. This meant that once he obtained another's divine artifact, he would be able to forcefully erase its owner's mark and force it to recognize him as its master. The divine ice ring had followed Suyu for such a long time, but he was still unable to recognize its master. The reason for this was that its master was the monarch of the divine ice ancient kingdom. Since the ring already had a master, Suyu could only rely on his cultivation technique to forcefully unleash its power. However, he was only able to unleash less than 30% of its power. If he had entered the 10,000 soldier pool earlier, the divine ice ring would have recognized him as its master. However, it was now completely destroyed. First, leader Tai Mu was mostly destroyed. Finally, it was completely destroyed by the Black Water Pirates' first head. However, if he could obtain a divine artifact from such a mysterious spiritual pool, he would be able to easily recognize him as its master. It was hard to believe that such a nature-defying thing could exist in this world. No wonder Lord Bailuo said that obtaining the two family would allow one to rule the world. An ancient family of the same era as the Empire of Darkness was indeed frightening. If he had the chance, he should go and take a look. Yes, I agree. Su Yu nodded his head lightly. Tu Long's eyebrows relaxed, and he let out a light laugh. Thank you. Time passed quickly, and 2 days passed in the blink of an eye. The flying eagle descended upon the most central area of the sub-palace, Lingxiao Palace. A majestic palace stood on top of a towering cliff. Countless silver-clothed and black-clothed guards shuttled back and forth. It was an imposing sight. This place was the hub of the North Continent's sub-palace of the Empire of Darkness. Ling Xiaotian oversaw this place, commanding all the members of the Empire of Darkness in the North Continent. Tens of thousands of silver-clothed guards and black-clothed guards were scattered throughout the North Continent, carrying out various orders. They were searching for geniuses, gathering information on the North Continent, searching for universe treasures, elixirs, techniques, etc. The never-ending stream of silver-clothed guards and black-clothed guards in front of him was just the tip of the iceberg. The true sub-palace had yet to reveal its true appearance. Report your name. A few cold shouts came from above the clouds. It was a team of black-clothed guards blocking their path. Su Yu took out Palace Master Yin Yu's seal, stating his identity. So it is Deputy Palace Master Yin Yu. The Palace Master has orders for you to come to the Breeze Cabinet. The black-clothed guard's expression relaxed. The legendary 10th Deputy Palace Master, Su Yu. Palace Master Yin Yu, please follow us. The Breeze Cabinet was one of the 4 great pavilions of the Lingxiao Palace. The environment was quiet and comfortable, and it was only open to important guests. Under normal circumstances, even Deputy Palace Masters were not allowed to enter. Palace Master Enfang was secretly surprised. Palace Master Ling valued Deputy Palace Master Yin Yu more than expected, actually opening the Breeze Cabinet to show his support for Su Yu. The group sat down for a moment. Whoosh, whoosh, the sound of something breaking through the air could be heard. It was the handsome Ling Xiaotian, as well as the white-haired, youthful Inspector Bai He. As his gaze swept past Inspector Bai He, Su Yu's pupils dilated, a cold glint flashing in his eyes. That day in the Alliance City, it was this person who was rude and unreasonable, insisting on killing Su Yu. To think that he would meet him again this time around. But Lord Bailuo did not show himself. I am Inspector Bai He, under the orders of Lord Bailuo to investigate the death of Deputy Palace Master Zhang Jian. Inspector Bai He had a stern expression, his sharp gaze piercing through Su Yu's body. Ling Xiaotian had a relaxed expression, waving his sleeves. Yin Yu, sit down. At the same time, he observed Su Yu with a smile. It was a casual glance, but his expression froze, his smile becoming more pronounced. Immortal Realm Level 1 peak? To have such a huge breakthrough in just a month, unbelievable! Before Su Yu joined, he was only Dragon Realm Level 5 peak. But now, he was Immortal Realm Level 1 peak. The improvement was unimaginable. Even the 1000 Spirit Elixir would not have such an effect. I am indebted to Palace Master's guidance. Su Yu smiled as he cupped his fists in response. Ling Xiaotian laughed, gratified. I did not judge wrongly, I have picked up a treasure. To think that Han Jianglin had used all sorts of methods to kill Su Yu. Such a talent had been defiled, a pearl covered in dust. Luckily, he had a discerning eye, accepting Su Yu as the 10th Deputy Palace Master. I think that last Jilan is about to meet a strong opponent. Hua Jilan? Su Yu did not understand. It seemed like Hua Jilan was only Dragon Realm Level 7 peak. Why did Ling Xiaotian's tone sound like Su Yu was on par with her? Humph! Palace Master Ling, start dealing with this traitor who killed his fellow faction member. A discordant grunt destroyed the harmonious atmosphere. Inspector Bai He stared at Su Yu, his gaze cold. Chapter 307. Palace Masterling, I am following orders to oversee this matter, you do not need to worry. Inspector Bai, he said coldly. Ling Xiaotian's expression was calm. In my sub-palace, my vice-palace masters killed each other. Do you think I will not interfere? Hee. Inspector Bai, he let out a fake smile. You can't even control your own vice-palace masters, why would you have the face to interfere? In other words, Ling Xiaotian was useless, allowing his subordinates to kill each other, resulting in losses. Ling Xiaotian only smiled without saying a word, wiping his face. Su Yu looked on from the side, feeling apologetic. Ling Xiaotian was busy every day, overseeing the affairs of the North Continent's sub-palace. However, he was delayed because of Su Yu, and was mocked because of Su Yu. Inspector Bai, if you have the time to talk about others, you should first take care of your subordinates. Su Yu mocked. Whoosh! Two sharp gazes looked as if they wanted to pierce through Su Yu. Lowering his eyelids, Inspector Bai sat high up in the hall, looking down at Su Yu, speaking slowly. Did I allow a lowly deputy palace master like you to speak? In his eyes, Su Yu's status was not worth mentioning. Since you want to speak, let me ask you, do you admit to your crimes? Inspector Bai looked down on Su Yu, questioning him. Su Yu laughed silently. Inspector Bai was following orders to investigate, but before there was any conclusion, he was questioning Su Yu if he admitted to his crimes. Shaking his head, Su Yu said, Inspector, where did my crimes come from? Inspector Bai let out a cold laugh. You still want to quibble at this point? Shui Yao and Vice Palace Master Feng Qing have already confessed that you killed him. Now that you are trying to deny it, I cannot compliment your character. Had the two of them confessed? Su Yu sighed. In front of the Empire, they were unable to maintain their bottom line and were forced to confess. Oh? Why was Zhang Jian killed? How did the two of them confess? Su Yu was calm, not panicking. Inspector Bai's expression turned rigid, quickly concealing his emotions, laughing coldly. Why he was killed has nothing to do with this case, as long as you admit that you killed him. Looks like you have admitted to your crimes. Since that is the case, kneel and submit. With just a few words, he had sentenced Su Yu to death. He didn't ask about anything that was printed on it. Haha, Inspector Bai, I am not dead yet. Ling Xiaotian did not bat an eyelid as he laughed lightly. However, everyone could hear the anger in his voice. Inspector Bai was unmoved. The evidence is conclusive, what is there to argue about? According to the dynasty's laws, he should be beheaded. Ling Xiaotian held a teacup in his hand and casually said, Inspector Bai, if you insist on acting willfully and treating human lives as grass, I don't mind returning to the headquarters and asking the King of Darkness to be the judge. The words King of Darkness was like a sudden clap of thunder, causing the cold and arrogant Inspector Bai's expression to change. As the Grand Temple Master, he had a chance to be summoned by the King of Darkness once a year. He would be instructed in his cultivation or receive some simple rewards as a reward for guarding the 4 subtemples. Apart from the 7 Lords of Darkness, the 4 Palace Masters were the only members of dynasty who could approach the King of Darkness. At that time, Ling Xiaotian would rather give up on guiding his cultivation and ask the Sovereign King to be the judge. Once this case was exposed, no one in the world could save him. His stiff expression gradually relaxed, his cold expression also becoming gentler. Palace Master Ling, what are you saying? I am acting on orders and will naturally deal with it impartially, treating everyone equally. Just now, I was merely testing Palace Master Yin Yu's reaction, and I did it on purpose. Hearing him try to smooth things over, Ling Xiaotian calmly said, As long as Inspector Bai is going to deal with it impartially, I will not interfere. Continue. His attitude was as if he was ordering a subordinate. However, Inspector Bai had a guilty conscience and could only endure it. His eyes were filled with anger as he stared at Su Yu. Speak, did you kill Zhang Jian because you did not split the spoils evenly? Confess now and you will be treated leniently. If you resist, you will be punished severely. The other party was anxious to pin a crime on Suyu, to the point of using such a method to lure him into a confession. Suyu let out a faint smile. That is to say, whether or not I am guilty has not been determined? Inspector Bai was furious. We are now investigating the severity of your crime. Cooperate with us and fight for leniency. If Suyu cooperated with him, he would be the one to die faster. That is to say, my crime has not been determined. Suyu's smile was cold. If that is the case, I would like to ask Inspector Bai, if my crime has not been determined, is it reasonable for Leader Tai Mu to use my crime as a reason to kill me in front of everyone? Inspector Bai raised his eyebrows, silently blaming Tai Mu. Tai Mu was too careless and allowed Suyu to take advantage of the situation. If he were to return, he would definitely be punished. Just as he was about to speak, Ling Xiaotian's eyes turned cold. Oh? A red-clothed guard offended his superior and tried to kill a vice-palace master without any evidence? How daring! He should be executed for his crime. Wait. Inspector Bai hurriedly said, Leader Tai Mu is an upright person, upright and plain-spoken. He would most likely threaten you verbally and would not dare to kill you. He then looked at Suyu with a mocking smile. The fact that you are standing here unscathed proves everything. If he were to kill you, do you think that you would be able to face me in court unscathed? Ling Xiaotian was silent. Indeed, Tai Mu might not dare to kill Suyu. Upright and plain-spoken, upright person? Suyu could not help but let out a laugh. Would the upright person allow a bandit who brought disaster to his people to escape and remain indifferent? Would the upright and plain-spoken person use his position to avenge a personal grudge and kill me? Looking at Inspector Bai with a cold smile, Suyu let out a laugh. Why am I standing here unscathed? It is not that he does not dare to kill me, but that when he does not kill me on the spot. What? Not only was Inspector Bai shocked, even Ling Xiaotian was shocked. Tai Mu had a cultivation of Immortal Realm Level 3, while Suyu was merely Immortal Realm Level 1. How could he kill Tai Mu? But he quickly understood. The Inu Manor was Suyu's territory. With precautions, it was not impossible for him to kill Tai Mu using numbers. Slap, the handle in Inspector Bai's hand was shattered. His old face turned ugly, as if he was about to devour someone. You killed him? Tai Mu had not returned for a few days, and Inspector Bai had a bad premonition. Suyu's words proved everything. Suyu laughed but did not speak. How dare you? You dare to kill a servant who is under orders? This inspector will not forgive you. Inspector Bai was seething with anger. How daring was he to kill Tai Mu? How could he look down on him, the inspector? Suyu said calmly, Does that mean that Inspector Bai thinks that a red-clothed guard killing an innocent vice-palace master in front of everyone is within the law? His words stunned Inspector Bai. Sensing Ling Xiaotian's attention, he had an idea. In front of everyone, he could not become a laughingstock. Forcing himself to calm down, he said in a low voice, According to the law, he should be executed, but how could you make the decision on your own? But Suyu forcefully interrupted him. Since he should be executed, may I ask, how could a mere red-clothed guard be so daring? Did he receive an order from a superior? There was only one superior to Tai Mu, Inspector Bai. Ling Xiaotian's gaze was fierce. Inspector Bai, the vice-palace masters are geniuses that the Empire of Darkness is grooming. You have guts to kill them. Inspector Bai's expression turned serious. Even he did not dare bear such a heavy crime. His dark expression changed, returning to his stern expression. I am the inspector who supervises the world. Every word and action represents the Empire of Darkness. I remember the laws of the Empire of Darkness. How could I do such a disgraceful thing? I only ordered Tai Mu to bring you back for investigation. I did not order him to kill you. Based on my guess, since Tai Mu had a personal grudge against you, He must have been complying on the surface, using his position to take revenge. This matter has nothing to do with me. In no time at all, Inspector Bai managed to put aside this matter. Suyu laughed calmly. If that is the case, should Taimu be killed? The muscles on Inspector Bai's mouth twitched, his heart suppressing the boundless hatred, but his expression was righteous. You dared to defy me on the surface, committing such a heinous crime, you deserve to die. Even if Palace Master Inu does not punish you, I will personally execute you. As he swept his gaze past Suyu, a cold murderous intent flashed past his eyes. Let's forget about Tai Mu's matter. Now let's continue with Zhang Jian's matter. Why did you kill him? Speak. Inspector Bai was overbearing, interrogating Suyu, as though he wanted to convict Suyu. Suyu's expression was calm. This kind of person colluded with the enemy and killed his own people. He is ungrateful, of course he should be killed. Ling Xiaotian nodded. Tell me in detail. He naturally knew the characters of the 10 great vice palace masters. Following which, Suyu told him everything that had happened. Of course, he did not mention the relic. Shui Yao and Feng Qing also did not mention the relic. After all, the relic was not related to the case. There was no need for them to seek trouble. Knowing that Suyu had saved Zhang Jian twice, but was instead plotted against by Zhang Jian. Furthermore, he had purposely let the second head of the Black Water Pirates escape, plotting to kill Shui Yao and Feng Qing. Ling Xiaotian's expression turned cold, sighing after a while. I am to blame for his death. Back then, I was in a rush to create the 10 great vice palace masters. Hence, I focused on his talents but neglected his character. I was unable to guide him in time. I am responsible for this. Seeing that the matter was about to be settled, Inspector Bai let out a cold laugh. The two of you want to gloss over this matter. Let me ask you, who can testify for what happened that day? Just because you say that Zhang Jian is ungrateful, does that mean he is ungrateful? He is a dead man, he would not jump out to argue with you. Suyu said, didn't you interrogate Shui Yao and Feng Qing? I believe you have already heard the same thing from them. The 3 of you share the same suspicion. Naturally, it is a tradition. Unless there is a 4th person to testify, the words of the 3 of you are not valid. A 4th person. Other than the 3 of them, how could there be a 4th person? If there is no 4th person, I have reason to believe that the 3 of you killed Zhang Jian to silence him. Inspector Bai was overbearing, determined to get what he wanted. If he did not take the opportunity to kill Suyu, he would not be able to quell the hatred in his heart. Suyu's eyes turned cold. What nonsense! With the situation at that time, how could there be a 4th person present? To force Suyu into a corner, it was clear that he wanted to kill Suyu. Ling Xiaotian creased his brows. Even though he knew Inspector Bai's intentions, his words were not without reason. Without a witness, the possibility of the 3 of them conspiring to kill Zhang Jian still existed. Who said there is no 4th person? Isn't he right in front of you? But at this moment, a mocking voice came from outside the loft. Inspector Bai looked over, coldly saying, Who are you? Chapter 308. Didn't I say it before? The 4th person you are looking for. Tu Long's expression was calm, calmly entering, not the least bit pressured by Inspector Bai's aura. I am the 2nd head of the Black Water Pirates who wanted to assassinate them, Tu Long. Suyu was shocked. Tu Long was willing to testify. If Tu Long was unwilling, even if Suyu forced him, there was no need for Tu Long to agree. Thinking about how he had requested Suyu to replace him and head to the Tu family of Anua City to return the ashes, Suyu was silent. The words of a dying man were kind. Slaying the dragon was using the last of his life to repay the favor. All he wanted was for him to return to his root. As he passed by Suyu, Tu Long gave him a calm smile. Palace Master Inu, please. Inspector Bai had an unfriendly expression. You are saying that you are the true culprit who killed the Vice Palace Masters? Tu Long nodded. Yes. I am acting on orders. I can testify to everything Palace Master Inu has said. It is all true. As for my identity, anyone in the Inu area would recognize me. With his testimony, everything would be revealed to the world. Inspector Baihe's eyes were filled with warning, a hidden threat. Is that so? Please think about it carefully. Did you say something wrong? Unexpectedly, Tu Long sneered. Inspector Baihe, take a step back and you'll see the world. Leaving others a way out is also leaving yourself a way out. Don't push others too hard. Palace Master Inu is a chivalrous person who values relationship. He does not deserve to die. His face turned red from the mocking. Inspector Baihe was furious, but his expression was calm. All right, the truth has been revealed. Vice Palace Master Zhang Jian wanted to kill 3 Vice Palace Masters first. Inu, Shuiyao, and Feng Qing resisted. They are not guilty. All of you behave yourselves. Inspector Baihe stood up, his old eyes staring deeply at Inu. He also glared at Tu Long, who had ruined things at the crucial moment, before leaving with hatred. The matter had been settled. All of you can leave. Inu, stay. Ling Xiaotian's expression was calm. When only Su Yu and him were left in the loft, Ling Xiaotian calmly looked toward the sky, calmly saying, How is Tu Long's identity? What he was concerned about was Tu Long. No, to be more precise, it was Tu Long who dared to kill a Vice Hall Master. Su Yu shook his head and said, The mastermind behind the Black Water Pirates is not him, but the first head. With a hint of surprise in his eyes, Ling Xiaotian asked, What is the other party's identity? I don't know. Tu Long has not been able to find out the truth even after so many years, Su Yu reported honestly. Ling Xiaotian nodded lightly. Where are the Black Water Pirates? I'll make a trip there myself. Daring to assassinate a deputy palace master of the Empire of Darkness, he was extraordinary. It's already too late. The Black Water Pirates have already been silenced by that first master. Not even the fowls and dogs are spared. Only this second leader had lost an arm and survived. The reason I brought him here today is that I hope to hand him over to the Hall Master to deal with. This was the reason why Su Yu had brought Tu Long along. That mysterious leader was ultimately a hidden threat, so he had no choice but to inform Ling Xiaotian. You sure are clean. Ling Xiaotian snorted coldly. In this way, the clues were completely cut off. Dragon Slayer. I'll leave him to you. Ling Xiaotian muttered. Just now, Tu Long had stepped forward bravely to help Su Yu. Ling Xiaotian had seen this. Su Yu nodded, understood. Turning around, Ling Xiaotian let out a warm smile, looking at Su Yu with satisfaction. In just a month, you have changed a lot. Your potential is shocking. It is the palace master who has nurtured me, Su Yu replied gratefully. Thinking back, Ling Xiaotian had saved him twice, giving him the chance to enter the Empire of Darkness, and even giving him the chance to walk on a bigger stage. Outside the Lucian faction, when Lu Jun was about to strike, Ling Xiaotian had appeared and scared Lu Jun away, gifting him the immortal-level technique, 9 Fingers of Imaginary Thunder. During the alliance meet, Ling Xiaotian had appeared to protect Su Yu. He had also invited Su Yu to enter the Empire of Darkness. Su Yu would never forget his kindness. You did not disappoint me. Hence, I'll give you a chance to improve further. Ling Xiaotian clapped his hands mysteriously. Deep within the loft, a lady with a slender figure and a beautiful figure, wearing a veil, walked over leisurely like a fairy. Even though her face was veiled, one could see the stunning beauty beneath the veil. A pair of crescent moon-like eyes flashed with a faint smile. Under the silver mask, Su Yu's lips twitched. Hua Jilan. Jilan, this is the new Deputy Palace Master, Inu. She is Hua Jilan, the 9th Deputy Palace Master. She entered the Empire of Darkness 5 years before you. Both of you are from the 100 territories, please keep in contact in the future. Hua Zhilan smiled as she curtsied, her crescent eyes sizing up Su Yu curiously. A moment later, she pouted, "You are only 16 years old, but you are already at Immortal Realm Level 1 peak. You seem to be stronger than me." It looked like a compliment, but her tone was full of mockery. She did not take him seriously. Ling Xiaotian laughed and shook his head. "Don't look down on him. Even Zhang Jian lost to him." Hua Zhilan's crescent eyes narrowed, staring at Su Yu without blinking. "Is that so?" Zhang Jian was ranked 5th. As a new deputy palace master, Su Yu had to be impressed. "Palace Master Zhilan, please take care of me in the future. Hee, call me senior sister." Hua Zhilan suddenly laughed, puffing out her chest. Among the 10 vice palace masters, there was no seniority to speak of among them. Su Yu laughed silently. This Hua Zhilan was a little strange. "Yes, senior sister Hua." Su Yu laughed. On Shunyue Island, the 3 slaps on her buttocks had already written off all their grudges. "Inu, I will give you a chance to further your studies." Ling Xiaotian finally returned to the main topic. "I will arrange for you and Zhilan to make a trip to Anue City. Through there, you will enter the Dark Forest to train. I will send people to protect you in secret, to ensure that you return safely from the Dark Forest." Training? Su Yu did not understand. The Dark Forest was said to be a dangerous place. Humans rarely stepped into it. Was there any training value in that place? Hua Zhilan's eyes widened, surprised. "Is it finally my turn? Wait, I only got a chance after making a great contribution. Why can this lad, who has just arrived, go with me?" Hua Zhilan curled her lip. "He has made a great contribution, there are no objections. You will set off today." Ling Xiaotian did not give her a chance to refute, immediately saying, "Set off immediately?" Su Yu did not understand. "Palace Master, isn't this a little rushed? I need to make arrangements for the Inu area. This trip to Anue City would take at least a few months." He did not have time to make arrangements for the Inu area's affairs. "There is no need. Time is of the essence, there is no time." Palace Master Ling Xiaotian hurriedly said, "Our Empire of Darkness has an extremely good training ground. However, according to the reports, there is a beast tide coming from the Dark Forest. It will quickly cover the training ground. If you are late, you will be delayed by half a year. You need to complete your training before the beast tide arrives." Beast tide? Su Yu and Hua Zhilan creased their brows at the same time. "Palace Master, I have something to report. Within the ocean, wild beasts and demonic beasts have all disappeared. It is extremely strange." Hua Zhilan revealed what she had seen in the ocean. This was what Su Yu wanted to say. "Palace Master, within the past half a month, there has been a beast tide in my Inu area," Su Yu said. Ling Xiaotian raised his brows. "Oh?" At the same time, there were signs of a beast tide in the ocean, the center of the northern continent, and the Dark Forest? This matter was a little strange. "I will inform the headquarters of this information. You can train with peace of mind. You can set off now." Su Yu nodded, stepping out of the loft and walking toward Yunxiang. "Yunxiang, I need to travel to Anue City. Come with me," Su Yu said. Bringing her with him was the safest move. If she was left in the Inu area and captured alive by the mysterious first head, the consequences would be unimaginable. Yunxiang was elated, obediently agreeing. After which, Su Yu looked toward Tu Long, calmly saying, "If you really wish to return to the family, I think it would be better for you to go personally. Follow me to the Dark Forest." Tu Long could not believe his ears. "You are not going to kill me?" Su Yu's expression was cold. "If I really have to bear the guilt, a living person is far more repentant than a dead person." Tu Long's face was filled with excitement, the gratitude in his heart indescribable. He looked deeply at Su Yu. "I, Tu Long, will remember your kindness for as long as I live." Just like that, including Hua Zhilan, the 4 of them quickly headed toward Anue City. Half a day later, They had passed through half of the sub-palace's area and were about to leave. However, just as the flying eagle was about to pass through the sub-palace's area, an extremely sharp spirit energy shot down from the clouds in the sky. The spirit energy was as thick as a small bucket. It was like a beam of light, sneakily attacking from the layer of clouds. Suyu was cautious the entire way, keeping his vision within a 50-mile radius. Be careful. Just as there was a change in the layer of clouds, Suyu had sensed it. He carried Zi Yunxiang and escaped from the giant eagle in time. As for Huajilan, she was slightly further away from Suyu. Suyu did not have the time to carry her away, and could only warn her. Rumble bang, the spirit energy arrived in the blink of an eye. The giant eagle did not have time to react. It let out a pathetic cry on the spot, turning into gray dust. What a tyrannical spirit energy! Huajilan did not have time to dodge, but she did not panic. She was clearly only Dragon Realm level 7, but her body was releasing a faint glow. After which, her body dispersed, turning into a glow that filled the sky. After which, the glow gathered beside Suyu, turning back into Huajilan. This scene caused Suyu to be extremely shocked. What kind of strange secret technique was that? Her body turning into light, then gathering again? Such a horrifying secret technique was truly breathtaking. But at this very moment, Suyu had no time to pay attention to it. He shot toward the clouds with a serious expression, coldly saying, "You are an inspector, but you want to launch a sneak attack. Aren't you ashamed?" Whoosh, the clouds suddenly dispersed. A gust of wind blew past. 100 zhang in front of Suyu and his group, there was an elderly man standing with his hands behind his back, as if he had teleported. It was Inspector Bai He. His expression was cold, his face filled with righteousness. I represent the Empire's headquarters to capture and kill the traitors. You killed your own people, you deserve to die. Suyu could not help but laugh. Half a day ago, you announced on the spot that you had investigated the matter thoroughly. That was Ling Xiaotian's corruption, affecting the fairness of the investigation. Now I declare that you are guilty, and should be executed according to the law. Suyu laughed in anger at his sophistry. I knew that an old thing like you would not let the matter rest. But if you want to kill me, just kill me. Why do you need to be so sanctimonious? Suyu got into a defensive stance, but his heart was pounding. Inspector Bai He's abilities were unfathomable, as if he was even stronger than Ling Xiaotian. In front of such a strong martial artist, Suyu did not even have the chance to attack. Chapter 309. Yunxiang, Tu Long and Palace Master Jilan split up and escape. Suyu gave a light grunt. For Inspector Bai He to dare intercept them, it was clear that he was prepared to kill them all. The three of them had to split up in order for one of them to escape. Furthermore, if they had the chance to escape, Inspector Bai He would not dare kill them to prevent the matter from being exposed. As an inspector, I order all of you not to leave. If you dare take a step away, you will be punished according to the law. Inspector Bai He gave a stern scolding. Huajilan tidied up her messy clothes, her face filled with anger. Old man, don't you have any shame? It was fine for an inspector to launch a sneak attack. It was fine for him to kill someone for no reason. What was worse was that he was clearly trying to kill them all, yet he was still speaking with such righteous words. Let's go. Zi Yunxiang and the other two were intelligent people. They knew that if they could escape, they would be giving Suyu a chance to live. Whoosh whoosh, the three of them immediately escaped in 3 different directions. As for Suyu, he flew in the other direction. Even Inspector Bai He could not chase him in 4 different directions at the same time. However, Inspector Bai He did not panic at all. Instead, the corners of his mouth curled into a cold smile. As the inspector, if I let you little kids escape from my hands, it would be the biggest joke in the world. 2nd grade clone technique. Buzz buzz, a shocking scene appeared. Inspector He released a third of the spirit energy in his body, forming a silvery human figure. The outline was 90% similar to Inspector He, and his abilities were at the terrifying Immortal Realm Level 4. A clone technique created using spirit energy? Whoosh whoosh. Inspector He's clone chased after Huajilan, while his main body chased after Suyu with a cold smile. Traitor, I, as an inspector, will execute you on the spot. But the one at a disadvantage was Huajilan. The clone's movement technique far surpassed Huajilan's, arriving in an instant. Huajilan had a bitter expression, wanting to cry, "Why are you chasing me? You brat, you've implicated me!" Rumble. The clone's attack was ruthless and fast, a finger aimed at Huajilan's back. Huajilan was about to be killed. At this moment, creak, in the sky, a transparent human figure suddenly appeared. A hoarse old chuckle that was like a magnet came from the transparent figure. He. Inspector He is in a good mood to be so ruthless towards a group of children. Why don't you try this, old servant? The doppelganger abruptly raised its head. The spiritual energy all over its body vibrated, showing signs of dispersing. Walala! The transparent human figure suddenly rippled like water and turned into thousands of raindrops, falling down in a downpour. Puff, puff. In the cold rain, the doppelganger had no way of dodging and was pierced through like a sieve. Finally, with a puff, it was annihilated on the spot. On the other side, Suyu had just taken a few steps when Inspector He appeared in front of him with his hands clasped behind his back. Brat, do you think that you, a mere deputy hall master, can escape from me? Inspector He's eyes were filled with killing intent. You killed the commander of my guards, contradicted me, and violated my authority. Even if you die 100 times, you will not be able to atone for your sins. Inspector He shouted coldly. A thick murderous aura assaulted Su Yu's senses, and he was greatly alarmed. Facing this person alone was far more dangerous than Han Jianglin. This person was on a completely different level from Han Jianglin. He, finally putting on that righteous facade? In the end, you have just lost all your face and must kill me. Suyu mocked without fear. With the other party's killing intent, any pleading or showing weakness would be unnecessary. Little beast. I will send you on your way now. Inspector He revealed his murderous intent. Space transportation. At the critical moment, Suyu had already prepared to use his space ability. A space energy enveloped his body, sending him 10 miles away. However, at the instant the power of space appeared, Inspector He sneered in disdain. In front of me, you still dare to show off your insignificant space powers? Break. He casually flicked out a bolt of spirit energy. At that moment, the spirit energy around Suyu became chaotic, causing the space energy to tremble. The transportation that was about to be completed was instantly broken. Suyu's expression changed. This was the first time someone had broken a space ability head-on. Seal of time. Suyu clenched his teeth, deciding on the spot. A purple dragon instantly coiled around Inspector He's body. Even if it was only for a breath's time, it could buy him some time. But what caused Suyu's expression to change was, you have many tricks up your sleeve. Unfortunately, I have said that everything is futile in front of me. With a low grunt, the formless purple dragon coiling around Inspector He's body let out a dragon's roar and collapsed. Suyu's pupils dilated. There was actually someone who could break free of the seal of time. Just what kind of abilities did he have? Time control. Space vortex. As he retreated, Suyu continuously increased the speed of time. At the same time, he created a space vortex in Inspector He's body, distorting his heart. But time that was 3 times faster was not worth mentioning in front of Inspector He. With a slight shake of his body, Inspector He shattered the space whirlpool at his heart. After which, he took a seemingly normal step. But this step covered a distance of 1,000 feet, coming within 10 feet of Su Yu. At that moment, a boundless sense of death filled his heart. It was as if a mountain was pressing down on him. The difference between them was too great, like a chasm. In front of him, Su Yu had no way of retaliating. Was he going to die in the hands of a villain? But at this moment, a frightening ripple suddenly radiated from beside them. A 10-foot-long crystal spear pierced through the air from the direction of the Lingxiao Palace, aiming for Inspector Bai He's chest. The cold expression of Inspector Bai He changed. Palace Garrison Divine Artifact, Broken Divine Spear. With a change in expression, Inspector Bai He had no time to care about Su Yu. He hurriedly revolved his spirit energy, forming a shield to block the spear. Crack! The shield shattered on the spot, unable to block the spear in the slightest. The long spear pierced through, piercing Inspector Bai He's chest. Pooh! He spat out a mouthful of blood. His snow-white beard instantly dyed red. His chest was a mess of flesh and blood, with a bowl-shaped hole. With just one strike, he had heavily injured the unfathomably strong Inspector Bai He. What kind of terrifying divine artifact was the broken divine spear? Compared to it, the divine ice ring was not even worth mentioning. Whoosh! In a flash of lightning, a figure teleported over, holding the broken divine spear that was covered in blood. He was handsome and had an extraordinary aura. His light blue robe fluttered in the wind. His handsome face, which had always been calm, was now covered in frost. Inspector Bai He's eyelids twitched, staring at the broken divine spear, not daring to look away. Ling Xiaotian, you used the palace garrison divine artifact so casually? This is used to kill the enemy. How dare you use it on an inspector? I will definitely report this matter to the Lord and get him to make a decision. He was clearly the one who assassinated the vice palace master, but the guilty party was the first to accuse him. Ling Xiaotian held the divine artifact, his gaze cold. Bai He. Do. You used the name of an inspector to force me to hand over the vice palace master. I can tolerate this. You used Yu's matter to punish him on the surface, but in reality, you were suppressing me. I can tolerate this as well. But you killed someone from the North Continent sub-palace. I cannot forgive you. Every dragon had a reverse scale. Anyone who touched it would be killed. Ling Xiaotian had promised Su Yu that as long as he was around, Su Yu would be at ease. Since I used the broken divine spear, you have no chance of survival. I will personally report to the King of Darkness about using the broken divine spear. Now! Ling Xiaotian held the broken divine spear, pointing it at Inspector Bai He. Chapter 310. Inspector Bai He's expression turned pale, retreating, shocked and afraid. Ling Xiaotian, do you wish to fight to the death? I was merely acting on impulse, muddle-headed for a moment. If you need it, I can apologize to you. Ling Xiaotian's expression was calm. Muddle-headed for a moment? If not for me secretly following them, wouldn't they have all died because of your muddle-headed? I do not need your apology. What I need is justice for the children with your blood. A thread of murderous intent flashed past Ling Xiaotian's lips. He had slandered Su Yu in an attempt to kill him. His plan had failed, and he had despicably set up an ambush to kill Su Yu. This sort of person could only be resolved by killing him. Inspector Bai He's expression was extremely ugly. Ling Xiaotian. Think this through, you dare kill me? As an inspector, I am in charge of monitoring your every move. Killing me is equivalent to rebelling. If you stop now, it is not too late. Ling Xiaotian was filled with murderous intent. You do not have the right to monitor me. After I kill you, I will personally go to the headquarters to ask for forgiveness. So be at ease on your way. Broken divine spear. With a low grunt, the crystal spear released a crystalline glow from within. A sharp glow that could destroy the world exploded in terror. Rumble, the ground shook, dark clouds covering the sky. Within 100 miles, all the birds and beasts scattered in all directions. The spirit energy in the 1,000-mile sky was in chaos. Wild winds blew, howling through the heavens. In just a moment, the world lost its color, the sun and moon losing their light. In the darkness, only the crystal spear released a dazzling glow. As if it was the only one in the world. Suyu was shocked. This was the true power of the broken divine spear? The moment it appeared, the world lost its color. Inspector Baihe's eyes were filled with fear, his old body trembling uncontrollably. Whoosh! Without another word, Inspector Baihe turned to escape. The spear in Ling Xiaoyan's hands vibrated, turning into a crystalline silver glow, piercing through the clouds. Creak! Inspector Baihe, who had just escaped a few steps, did not even have the time to scream before he was blasted into dust. A dignified admiral had died so easily under a divine weapon. Whoosh! Ling Xiaotian waved his hand, and the broken divine spear returned to his palm. The fluorescent light dissipated, and the world returned to normal. Su Yu's face was filled with shock as he stared at the broken divine spear in disbelief. This is one of the 12 divine weapons of the Empire of Darkness, the broken divine spear. The 5 great sub-palaces and the 7 great saints each have one. They have been passed down from ancient times and are the most destructive power of the Empire of Darkness. If one day you become the Palace Master or one of the 7 Lords of Darkness, you will also have the chance to control one. Su Yu licked his lips excitedly. The Empire of Darkness' most destructive power? With the suppression of these 12 divine weapons, it was no wonder that the Empire of Darkness's luck did not decline even after 10,000 years. However, from Inspector Baihe's words, it was not hard to tell that the price of using the 12 divine weapons was extremely high. At this moment, Su Yu noticed that although Ling Xiaotian's expression was calm, his face was slightly pale, and there was no spiritual energy in his body. A single strike had depleted a deputy hall master's stamina and spiritual energy? All right, I am fine. Both of you can continue your journey with a peace of mind. Remember to come back as soon as possible. I have other important matters for you and Jilin. Ling Xiaotian gently stroked Su Yu's head, smiled kindly, and left. After that, Hua Jilin, Zi Yunxiang, and Tu Long returned. That was a palace garrison divine weapon? Hua Jilan's crescent moon eyes were filled with seriousness. She looked at Su Yu with a profound gaze. The group continued their journey. Hua Jilan's gaze fell on Su Yu from time to time, causing him to feel uncomfortable. Half a day later, when they were resting along the way, Hua Jilan approached, staring at Su Yu. Can you tell me why Palace Master Ling chose you to become the 10th Deputy Hall Master? Su Yu was surprised. It is just Palace Master Ling's undeserved favor. However, Hua Jilan shook her head. No. Palace Master Ling's eyes are more vicious than anyone else's. He would definitely not make a mistake. The fact that he handed the nameless area over to you proves everything. Su Yu could not help but laugh. The nameless area is barren, what value does it have? I was the last to arrive, and I had no other choice. Haha, what if I told you that Palace Master Shin Kong had always wanted your territory, even if he did not mind using his rich Shin Kong area to exchange for it? Hua Jilan's crescent moon eyes narrowed, as if she wanted to see something in Su Yu's eyes. Palace Master Shin Kong? The nameless area's neighbor was Palace Master Shin Kong. This was the strongest Deputy Hall Master among the 10 great Deputy Hall Masters. Palace Master Shin Kong? He coveted the barren land of the nameless area? Not only him, the other Deputy Hall Masters, including me, once wished to take control of this territory, but were all rejected by Palace Master Ling. The 10 great Deputy Hall Masters were fighting over that barren land? You do not seem to know the importance of your territory. Hua Jilan said. Do you know that it is known as the North Continent's central area? So you knew about this. The Empire of Darkness was located in the center of the North Continent. Coincidentally, the Inu area was located in the center of the North Continent. What is the significance of just being the central area? Su Yu did not understand. Hua Jilan had an envious expression. Do you know that the North Continent's central area is the birthplace of the Empire of Darkness? In the history of the Empire, the first time the Empire of Darkness descended upon the Zhenlong continent was in the nameless area. This area has a deep significance, and it is equivalent to the luck of the Empire of Darkness. Every generation, there would be a mysterious fighter sent by the King of Darkness to protect it. An ordinary hall master does not have the right to govern it. I do not understand why Palace Master Ling would hand it over to a little kid like you. Pouting, Hua Jilan had an indignant expression. Does Palace Master Ling treat you too well? In fact, he did not hesitate to use the palace garrison divine artifact to save you. Su Yu was shocked. The nameless area had such a history? Moreover, the King of Darkness had personally sent a mysterious fighter to protect it? Who was that mysterious fighter? Where was he in the Inu area? Forget it, it seems like you do not know anything. Hua Jilan observed Su Yu's expression secretly, confirming that he did not know anything. She lost interest. Let's hurry. The beast tide is approaching, we cannot waste any time. After resting for a moment, the four of them continued their journey. What no one knew was that, at the battleground, amidst the dust, there was a sudden movement. A crack appeared on the ground. An old hand crawled out from within the crack. Looking over, the person who appeared was Inspector Bai He, who should have been dead. His body was festering, his aura weak, his face pale. His cultivation level had fallen to Immortal Realm level 3 peak, not even comparable to a clone. Crawling out, Inspector Bai He's face was filled with fear. The power of the 12 divine artifacts is indeed unfathomable. If not for my second-grade clone technique breaking through to top class a month ago and being able to create 2 clones to hide from Ling Xiaotian, I would have died here today. But even if he survived, his body was severely injured, his cultivation level dropping. Feeling the weakness of his body and the drop in his cultivation level, Inspector Bai He's old face was filled with hatred, like a ferocious ghost. Ling Xiaotian. You and I are irreconcilable. Whoosh! He took out a paper crane from his robes. After spitting out a mouthful of blood, the paper crane flew in the direction of the Middle Continent. Inform Lord Bai Luo that Ling Xiaotian is using the divine artifact recklessly. The time is ripe. The paper crane nodded its head like a human, turning into a blood-red afterimage, disappearing into the horizon. Following which, Inspector Bai He looked in Su Yu's direction with hatred. Ling Xiaotian, I will make you wish you were dead. Since you did not allow me to kill them, I will kill them all. Whoosh! Chapter 311. 1 month later. The border between the northern continent and the eastern continent. Standing above the 9 heavens, as far as the eye could see, the horizon was an endless dense black forest. It was like a raging wave swaying in the depths of the sky. It was impenetrable, vast, and long, giving off a sense of oppression. That was the dark forest. It was a primordial land that had not been visited by humans for tens of thousands of years. It was rumored that the depths of the dark forest were where all sorts of demonic beasts gathered. It was a forbidden ground for humans. Apart from a few talented humans who could live there, normal humans would not be able to return once they entered. At the edge of the black forest, there was a towering giant, majestic like the last fortress guarding the borders of the human race. Looking from afar, there was a long stream of people entering and exiting the city. Hua Jilan looked at the sky, her tone filled with respect. Anua City is filled with powerful fighters. It does not belong to any of the northern continent's factions. Once we enter, our identities are no longer important. We must not keep a low profile. Anua City's geographical location was unique, similar to the Empire of Darkness. The 3 superpowers of the northern continent, the Snow Listening Tower, the Cabinet of the Phoenix, and the 100 Territories Alliance, could not govern the city independently. As such, many unknown fighters had gathered in Onua City. Among them were traitors from the 3 factions, as well as experts who had concealed their identities. In fact, there were people from the superpowers who had entered the Dark Forest through Onua City to train. Tu Long looked at the familiar Onua City and sighed. It has been 10 years since we last met. Who would pity the return of a prodigal son? Su Yu creased his brows. Tu Long seemed willing to return to the Tu family, but he was a little hesitant. Could it be that he was afraid of returning home? Shaking his head, Su Yu arrived at the city gate with the other 3. The entrance was heavily guarded, and the restrictions on those who entered were extremely strict. Do I need to pay a certain amount of money to enter? Su Yu asked. It was not strange for some cities to collect money from those who entered in order to gain wealth. Hua Zhilan pointed at a stone tablet at the city gate that was as tall as the city walls. There is no need for money, just proof of your abilities. Onua City is filled with all sorts of people. If you are not strong enough, you will most likely end up in a miserable state if you enter. Thus, we purposely limit the cultivation of those who enter. Those who do not meet the requirements are forbidden from entering. This way we can prevent chaos in the city where the strong bully the weak. As long as you have reached the Dragon Realm and above, you can enter. The test method is to place your palm on the stone tablet and gather all the spiritual energy in your palm. The stone tablet will give you the corresponding test result. Those who pass can enter. Everyone nodded and walked forward to line up silently. They waited patiently for a full hour under the blazing sun. Finally, it was their turn. I'll go first. Hua Zhilan personally demonstrated. She walked to the front of the stone tablet, placed her white and clean hand on the stone tablet, and silently gathered spiritual energy in her palm. ZZ. The green stone tablet suddenly emitted waves of green halos. Dragon Realm Level 7 Pinnacle, qualified. Enter. Beside the stone tablet, an old man of Immortal Level 1 said indifferently. Hua Zhilan entered the city lightly and waited for Su Yu in the city. Next, the old man didn't even lift his eyelids as he sat proudly beside the stone tablet and ordered calmly. Su Yu moved his feet and was about to walk forward. At this moment, a cold wind assaulted him from the side, pushing Su Yu aside. It was a green-robed young man, about 20 years old. He was handsome and elegant. His cultivation level was not weak. He was Immortal Level 3. He was Immortal Level 3 at the age of 20. In terms of talent, he was above the 4th Deputy Palace Master, Anfang. He held a folding fan in his hand, the tip of the fan casually pointing at Su Yu's chest. He forcefully pushed Su Yu's body away, opening up a wide path. At the same time, the folding fan was pointed at Su Yu's chest, preventing him from going forward again. His eyes did not even look at Su Yu. He elegantly turned his head and looked behind him. Senior Wei, you go first. Su Yu creased his brows. It was fine if he cut the queue. It was a matter of character. But to use the folding fan to poke his chest and forcefully open up a path for someone else was rude. Let go. Su Yu was still calm. But the young man ignored him, still smiling as he looked at Senior Wei. He slowly walked to the front of the stone tablet. It was as if he did not hear the person beside him speaking. At this moment, Senior Wei walked over along the path. He was only 20 years old. He was tall and had a head full of flowing black hair. His facial features were handsome and he had an extraordinary aura. What was even more frightening was that his aura was faintly emitted. Immortal Level 3 Upper Tier. Everyone turned to look at him wherever he passed. Especially the ladies waiting in line. Their eyes were filled with excitement. Wei Tianqian seemed to enjoy such gazes. He slowly walked toward the stone tablet. The old guard creased his brows, his expression unfriendly. But when he felt the powerful aura of the two of them, he suppressed his impatience. When Wei Tianqian slowly walked to the front of the stone tablet, he casually placed his palm on the stone tablet, leisurely gathering spirit energy. At that moment, the green stone tablet let out a red glow. It's the immortal realm. Green represents dragon realm, red represents immortal realm. What terrifying talent! He has already reached the immortal realm at the age of 20. Buzz buzz, the stone tablet let out a light sound, a row of words glowing. What? Immortal level 3 upper tier. The crowd gasped. The impatient old man's face trembled violently. His eyes were filled with respect. He stood up unknowingly, his expression respectful. Immortal level 3, please enter. His tone was completely different from how he treated Hua Zhilan. Wei Tianqian enjoyed being the center of attention. His expression was calm. In the silence, he walked into the city with his hands behind his back. But at this moment, a discordant voice could be heard. Are you deaf? I told you to move your hand away? Su Yu creased his brows, repeating himself. His voice was not loud. But in such a quiet environment, it was hard for the crowd not to hear him. Many pairs of eyes shot toward the silver-masked, silver-haired youth. His face could not be seen clearly. Only his unique silver hair attracted the attention of the crowd. The youth, who had his fan pointed at Su Yu's chest, wanted to pretend that he did not hear Su Yu's words, but had no choice but to turn his head. A handsome face had a faint smile. However, it was not a smile, but a sneer. So you were talking to me? The youth examined Su Yu from head to toe, shaking his head and sighing. Remember to speak louder next time. When you are inconspicuous, you must learn to shout with all your might. That way, you might be able to attract attention. In other words, Su Yu was too small in front of him. I am only asking you to move your fan away. Why are you speaking so much nonsense? Su Yu ignored him, the spirit energy in his body vibrating. SSS. He exerted his strength, the spirit energy traveling through the fan to the youth's palm. Caught off guard, his wrist hurt and he instinctively retracted it. Lad you. The youth shook his aching wrist. His sneer disappeared, replaced by a cold expression. Chapter 312. The youth was furious. Just as he was about to explode, he heard Wei Tianqian's displeasure. Why are you wasting time? Get over here. The youth was startled, suppressing his anger. He glared at Su Yu, then headed toward the stone tablet to check his spirit energy. Immortal Realm Level 3 lower tier. At that moment, the crowd was in an uproar. Has the world gone mad? Another super genius of Immortal Realm Level 3. Where did the two of them come from to be so outstanding? The two of them entered the city leisurely. The youth followed behind Wei Tianqian, his anger still lingering. Senior Wei, why didn't you let me vent my anger just now? That kid looked down on us. If we don't punish him, the reputation of the Snow Listening Tower will be destroyed. Wei Tianqian walked in front, his handsome face slightly dark. Humph! Being calculative with a small fry will damage the reputation of the Snow Listening Tower. Furthermore, we have come to Anue City to train. We have to rush to the Phoenix Cabinet within a month to participate in the North Continent's Phoenix Meet. We have no time to waste. Hearing about the Phoenix Meet, the youth's expression turned serious. Yes, Senior is right. The two of them were the disciples of the North Continent's #1 superpower, the Snow Listening Tower. At the city gate, the examiner sent the two of them off, his eyes filled with respect. To think that they are two of the 4 great sons of the Snow Listening Tower. The new generation truly excels the old, each generation has its own talent. After sighing, the examiner regained his indifferent expression, sitting down once again. He lifted his eyelids arrogantly, calmly looking at Su Yu, shaking his head. Young and impetuous, ignorant and fearless. This is as far as you will go. All right, you have already delayed for a long time. Why aren't you coming over? If you do not wish to enter the city, I will grant you your wish. The examiner glared at Su Yu, letting out a roar. His attitude was unbridled, his arrogance extraordinary. Suyu laughed angrily. "Old man, don't you think this is a joke? They cut the queue boldly, you did not stop them. They were slowly testing, wasting time, you did not persuade them. They created trouble out of nothing, finding trouble with me, you did not stop them. But now you are speaking to a junior like me, saying that I am wasting time. Don't you think it's ridiculous?" Suyu's words were sharp and went straight to the point. The old man was stunned. Then, his face darkened and he said in an unfriendly tone, "Are you talking to me?" His old body stood up slowly. The aura of an immortal level 1 lower tier scared a large number of people away, creating a large empty space. Everyone was alarmed. This silver-haired youth was too reckless. Not only did he offend 2 immortal level 3 super geniuses, he also spoke bluntly, making it difficult for the elderly examiner to step down. Although they sympathized with Suyu, as he had indeed gone overboard in testing the old man, they knew that it was the right thing to do in this world to put one's own safety before things go awry. However, Suyu did not restrain himself. Instead, he spoke bluntly and coldly. "Apart from you, who else could it be?" He was afraid of their strength and turned a blind eye to their actions. Instead, he was full of praises. "To people like me who are obviously not as good as them, yet they speak so harshly and scold so easily. How can a coward like you, who bullies the weak and fears the strong, be qualified to sit at the examination table?" The whole place was dead silent. Was this kid's brain muddled? He actually dared to say such disgraceful words. The elderly examiner's expression was gloomy. "Kid, you insulted the manager of US City. I suspect that you have ill intentions. Come with me." He was so angry that he wanted to laugh. In all these years, there had never been someone who did not know the immensity of heaven and earth and behaved atrociously in US City. If he did not teach Suyu a lesson, where would he put his face? Where would the dignity of US City be? Creak. However, what caused the elderly examiner to laugh in anger was that not only did Suyu not show any signs of remorse, he even attacked. A bolt of purple lightning streaked past the tip of his finger, heading toward the elderly examiner. He had wanted to casually block it. However, when the lightning neared his body, the elderly examiner realized that the weak lightning contained a destructive power. A weak bolt of lightning landed on his body, causing his old body to tremble violently. The spirit energy in his body was unusually violent, and he could not control it. His body was limp and numb. Not only that, he could not even speak. He could only watch as Suyu pointed his finger at him. His heart was in a state of shock. A mere remnant power had caused him to be unable to retaliate. What kind of peerless ability was this? Seeing the lightning strike, the elderly examiner's expression turned pale. His legs trembled involuntarily, his throat dry. He was filled with regret. He had offended a powerful fighter in a moment of carelessness. The elderly examiner closed his eyes in fear. However, the pain he expected did not appear. Instead, a gust of wind brushed past his body. After that, the stone tablet let out a buzzing sound. The crowd let out a gasp. Immortal Realm Level 2 Lower Tier. My God, he is only 16 years old. In terms of talent, he is above those two youths. Hiss. Another super genius has appeared. The elderly examiner's body returned to normal. He turned to look at the words on the stone tablet, his pupils dilating to the size of a needle. Immortal Realm. Level 2, Suyu calmly said. Do you still want me to follow you? Hearing this, the elderly examiner's face turned red. He was ashamed. Putting aside the fact that Suyu had such talent, he definitely had a shocking background. Just based on his abilities alone, he was not someone an Immortal Realm Level 1 lower tier could offend. Bowing, the elderly examiner was embarrassed. Mister, please enter. Do your job properly. It is not advisable to judge a book by its cover. Su Yu could not be bothered to argue with him, entering the city with his hands behind his back. The elderly examiner wore an ashamed expression, gratefully bowing to Su Yu. Regardless of whether it was a friendly reminder or the mercy he had shown Su Yu previously, both were worthy of this bow. After that, the elderly examiner's attitude became more proper. Zi Yunxiang easily entered. When it was Tu Long's turn, the elderly examiner was slightly stunned. "You look a little familiar." Tu Long let out a laugh. "I am merely a returning prodigal son." Nodding his head, the elderly examiner did not ask any further questions. The four of them entered the city, immediately searching for a spacious and simple inn. Hua Zhilan and Su Yu were having a secret conversation. "Our training grounds only open when the moon is full. Our journey this time around is rather fast, hence we are a few days ahead of schedule. Let's wait patiently." Hua Zhilan had been rushing all the way. Once she sat down, she could not help but stretch. Her slender figure was beautiful and elegant under the dim light. Especially her alluring waist, it made people want to stop. The urge to ravage her. Su Yu froze, an indescribable restlessness flashing past his mind. "It's happening again." Su Yu forcefully suppressed his evil thoughts. He could not remember how many times he had lost control of his thoughts. "All right. If there is nothing else, I will return to my room to rest." Su Yu forced himself to remain calm, getting up hurriedly, unwilling to stay any longer. Hua Zhilan rolled her eyes at him. It was a mischievous look, but she suddenly noticed that Su Yu was acting strangely. Chapter 313. As she spoke, she took light steps forward and teased, "If you are willing to take off your mask, I will give you a kiss." How could she not be curious about Su Yu's silver mask, which he never took off? She didn't know why, but she always felt that Su Yu was someone she was familiar with. But she could not remember who he was. It was no wonder she could not recognize Su Yu. Firstly, when they had met on Xinyue Island, Su Yu's voice was hoarse and had yet to recover. His voice now was completely different. Secondly, his cultivation level had changed greatly. When they had met on Xinyue Island, he was only Dragon Realm level 5. Now, he was Immortal Realm level 1 peak. It was difficult to connect the two. Su Yu rolled his eyes. Teasing her had deepened his thoughts. Taking a deep breath, Su Yu walked out while he was still calm. "Senior sister, rest. I will return to my room." Just as Su Yu was about to open the door, the waiter's voice came from outside. "Both of you are here. Apologies, but please forgive us. The store has been booked. Would the both of you like to stay elsewhere?" The waiter said, "We cannot afford to offend the person. Please be considerate. We are willing to compensate you double the cost of the trip." Su Yu raised his brows. "Oh, booked? Who?" If they had not checked in, they would not have any objections if someone had booked the store. However, they had already checked in, yet the person who came was so rude and unreasonable as to rent out the inn and chase them away. Thud, thud, footsteps could be heard coming from the staircase. "Of course it is someone you cannot afford to offend. Letting you go now is for your own good. You might not be able to leave later." The person had yet to arrive, but his arrogant words had already reached them. Following that, a short, plump man with his hands clasped behind his back walked up to the waiter. "Trash. You can't even do this." He was about 20 years old, but his cultivation level was average, only Dragon Realm level 5. Su Yu felt like he had seen this person somewhere before. It was as if he had only seen him once in a crowd. "Did you hear what I said? I asked you to leave." The plump man looked at Su Yu and the rest with his nose in the air. But when his gaze landed on Su Yu, it froze. His arrogant face froze on the spot and gradually turned pale. His body trembled slightly, and the sound of him swallowing came from his throat. His eyes stared at Su Yu, and they were as wide as bronze bells. Deep within his eyes there was fear and hatred. He said with a trembling voice, You are. Inu." "Hatred?" Killing intent flickered in Su Yu's eyes as he coldly asked, Do you know me? Being questioned by Su Yu, the slightly plump young man's face turned the color of a pig's liver. He let out a shriek, stomped on the stairs, and frantically ran down the stairs. Everyone looked at each other. Zi Yunxiang, who had rushed over after hearing the news, looked at Duan Yu's departing figure and said thoughtfully, "Isn't he called Duan Yu? During the alliance meet, he fought with me before. At that time, his abilities were only at Dragon Realm level 4. Now, he should be accepted into the Shintian Manor." Duan Yu? Su Yu found the name familiar. However, the fact that the people of Shintian Manor were here meant that, several gusts of wind came from the staircase. One of them seemed to have teleported and reached the second floor before the others. He had an imposing figure, a sanctimonious appearance, and an extraordinary aura. When he saw Su Yu, he released a monstrous killing intent. A frightening aura that was close to Ling Xiaotian's spread. Zi Yunxiang's breathing stopped, and she found it difficult to breathe. Her body was stiff, but her eyes were filled with deep hatred. Han, Jiang, Lin. Her family had been destroyed, and it was all because of Han Jianglin. To think that they would meet today. Her deep hatred caused Zi Yunxiang to lose her rationality. At this moment, a large hand gently landed on her shoulder. The aura that had suppressed her to the point where she could not move was alleviated. Su Yu and Han Jianglin looked at each other, their hearts filled with surprise. As the Alliance Master of the 100 Territories Alliance, why had he come to Anua City? Haha, Alliance Master Han, I trust you have been well since we last met. It has been half a year, but you are still as elegant as ever. Your nature of bullying the weak is still the same. Su Yu laughed indifferently. He did not feel much of a burden from the other party's aura. Back then, when Han Jianglin attacked at close range, his entire body turned rigid, the spirit energy in his body stagnant. He did not even have the strength to retaliate. But now, he could resist more than half of the aura. Han Jianglin's eyes were filled with monstrous killing intent, but he forcefully suppressed it. The current Su Yu was the Deputy Palace Master of the Empire of Darkness, and his status was high. If he were to kill him in front of everyone, what awaited him would be the fury of the Empire of Darkness. That was not something he could bear. Yu, it has been half a year and you have improved so much. Congratulations! Han Jianglin clenched his teeth, forcefully suppressing the urge to kill Su Yu. Su Yu laughed as usual. Same to you. I wonder how your son's injuries are. Creak. Han Jianglin clenched his fists, his body releasing a cold, killing intent. He had already restrained himself to the limit. His eyes were bloodshot, like an extremely furious beast. He clenched his teeth so hard that they made a cracking sound. Thanks to you, he is already dead. That day, he had been beaten half to death by Su Yu, with only his last breath. And the most important flesh regeneration elixir had been won by him in front of everyone at the Alliance meet. Other than death, he could not think of any other way for him to live. Su Yu shrugged. I see. My condolences, Alliance Master Han. Thud, thud, thud. At this moment, 2 more people came up. A man and a woman. The man was a youth, about 20 years old. He had an ordinary appearance, but his aura was sinister. His eyes narrowed into slits as he looked at people, giving off the feeling of a venomous snake. But his abilities were at Immortal Realm level 3 lower tier. The other woman was slightly older, about 30 years old. Her appearance was ordinary, her expression cold and arrogant, pushing people away. But her abilities were ridiculously strong, at Immortal Realm level 3 peak, just a step away from Immortal Realm level 4. The man did not have the time to look at Su Yu and his group, saying in shock, Master, that Yu really came? Master? Zi Yunxiang, who was standing behind Su Yu, shot a sharp gaze toward the man, her hatred rising again. She mocked, Gao Tsang, one of the 3 heavenly kings of the Shintian Manor in the past, has changed so quickly, acknowledging a thief as his master? My father treated you well when he was at the Shuntian Manor. The young man was Gaotsong. Hearing what was said, he looked over, his expression turning serious. Yunxiang. She was the #1 beauty of the Shuntian Manor in the past, the daughter of the housemaster, who in the Alliance continent did not see her as a fairy in their dreams. Gaotsong was born in poverty, and Housemaster Z was a mythical being that he looked up to. His daughter was beautiful and had a noble status. He had secretly hoped many times that he could marry Zi Yunxiang and become Housemaster Z's son-in-law. But things had changed with the passage of time. Housemaster Z's fate was unknown, and Han Jianglin had become the supreme being of the 100 territories of the Alliance continent. When Han Jianglin asked him if he was willing to become Alliance Master Han's disciple, he did not think for long, immediately becoming Alliance Master Han's disciple. Chapter 3:14. As for the other 2 heavenly kings, they had rejected Han Jianglin's offer and were imprisoned. That was the treatment of the super geniuses. The rest of the students who did not comply were all massacred. The number of students in the Xintian Manor was halved. Facing Zi Yunxiang again, Gaotsong's extravagant hopes faded. All that was left was regret and the dissatisfaction of not being satisfied. Yunxiang, listen to my explanation. Alliance Master Han is talented and ambitious. Under his leadership, the geniuses of the 100 territories will have a future and walk towards glory. Yunxiang, please let go of your hatred and forgive Alliance Master Han. He is not as narrow-minded as you think. If you are willing to return, I think Alliance Master Han will give you a chance. Zi Yunxiang was speechless. When her father was still in power, he had helped the 3 great heavenly kings with all his might, focusing on nurturing them. But Gaotsong had turned around and acknowledged the enemy as his teacher. That was fine, but he had actually praised the enemy who killed her father. Could it be that when her father was still in power, the Xintian Manor did not have a future? Furthermore, he had even asked her to forgive the enemy who killed her father in such a dignified manner. She was filled with righteousness. Seeing that Zi Yunxiang was silent, Gaotsong thought that he had shaken Zi Yunxiang's heart. His tone was gentle and filled with emotion. Yunxiang, come back. Why not return to the Xintian Manor? You will still be a princess. If you are willing, I can accompany you for the rest of your life. Just as he was filled with emotion, a cough broke the atmosphere. Cough cough. That Gaotsong, right? Suyu grabbed Zi Yunxiang's slender waist, calming her trembling body. You are indebted to Housemaster Z. You have turned to the enemy. You are an ungrateful person. You do not need to suck up to Alliance Master Han to clear your name. You will always be an ungrateful person in this life, and you will never be able to clear your name. Advise Yunxiang to forget about her father's death. You are devoid of conscience and worse than a beast. Do not be so shameless as to advise others to be like you. Suyu shook his head in disappointment, looking toward Han Jianglin. You have a good eye. If he could betray Housemaster Z today, he could betray you tomorrow. This kind of ungrateful person is worse than a beast. Alliance Master Han, are you so hungry that you cannot be choosy? Do you want to take anyone under your wing? Gaotsong's face turned red from the continuous mocking that hit the nail on the head. What he hated the most was people mocking him for being ungrateful. You shut up. I'm thinking for Yunxiang's sake. Who do you think you are? How dare you spread your lies here? Also, get your filthy hands off Yunxiang. Suyu was still hugging Zi Yunxiang. When he felt that her body was gradually stabilizing, he was slightly relieved and let go of her subconsciously. However, Zi Yunxiang continued to lean on Suyu, as if she was a helpless girl who was unwilling to abandon a safe harbor. This scene caused Gaotsong's heart to ache. The #1 goddess of the 100 Territories Alliance, the fairy of countless people's dreams, was already in Yu's grasp? Let me say it again, give me. Suyu interrupted him mercilessly and furrowed his brows in disgust. You can do ungrateful things, but you won't allow others to talk about it? Take a good look at yourself in the mirror. Look at your face. Everyone hates you. To Suyu, who valued favors and relationships, ungrateful people were undoubtedly the people he hated the most in his life. You! Gao Tsang was furious, his eyes about to spit fire. Han Jianglin, who was at the side, had an ugly expression. Yu, this place has been booked by me. You can leave now. He did not want to be entangled with Suyu. At least, it was not the time. Unexpectedly, Suyu was calm and composed, standing with his arms crossed. You want me to leave, and I will leave? I will stay here first. You can stay here if you want. Gao Tsang shouted angrily. Don't be so shameless. We have already spoken nicely to you. You want to do it the hard way? Suyu calmly looked over. If you are so powerful, you can book the entire Anue city. If you are so capable, why do you need to stay in a small inn? Speaking of which, the inn was ordinary and not eye-catching. It did not have any luxuries to speak of. However, Han Jianglin booked the entire place in one go, causing Suyu to guess. It was as if Han Jianglin did not wish to do things in a high profile, choosing such a secluded and quiet place to stay. Moreover, he booked the entire place to prevent others from being around. Could it be that he wanted to do some shady business? Gao Tsang's face turned red from the humiliation. If not for Han Jianglin being present, he would have pounced forward and torn Su Yu's mouth into pieces. Han Jianglin glared at Su Yu coldly. It's a small world. Yu, you'd better watch yourself. Let's go. This place has already caused a commotion. The possibility of him being exposed has increased. There is no benefit in arguing here. Gao Tsang was indignant. However, he could only suppress his anger and leave with Han Jianglin. After the crowd had left, Su Yu's gaze flashed. Waiter, did anything big happen in Anue City recently? The waiter froze. Could it be that you are not here for the two families' auction? Su Yu and Hua Jilan raised their brows at the same time. The waiter laughed. So you really do not know. The two families' auction is held twice a year. They would send out invitations to all the powerhouses in the North Continent. You should not belong to any powerhouse, hence you did not receive the invitation. Thinking back to the four sons of the snow listening tower, Su Yu understood. If that was the case, would the Phoenix Cabinet send someone? Would Siener come? Su Yu's heart warmed, filled with anticipation. Hua Jilan pondered. Two families' auction? What's so special about the auction? The waiter shook his head, indicating that he did not know. There is nothing special about the two families' auction. It is just that it is close to the Forest of Darkness, hence there are many rare treasures. Fighters can entrust their items to the two family. The two family will auction them and collect a fee. That is the gist of it. Because it is held once every half a year, and it is very close to the Forest of Darkness, some high-quality treasures often appear. As for why the people of the Empire did not receive the invitation, I'm afraid Palace Master Jilan would know better. Hua Jilan pouted. They are just afraid of the Empire of Darkness. The 8 great ancient clans of the same generation as the Empire of Darkness, the Legend of Qin and the Ghost Slaughter, were super forces that could compete with the Empire of Darkness at their peak. In the history of the Empire of Darkness, every time it declined, one of the 8 great ancient clans would rise. The rise of the Empire of Darkness is the fall of the 8 great ancient clans. The two family is one of the 8 great ancient clans. Why would they give us an invitation? Hearing this, Su Yu understood. The 8 great ancient clans and the Empire of Darkness had such a history. Then, I wonder who has the upper hand between the Empire of Darkness and the 8 great ancient clans? Su Yu was curious. Chapter 3:15. Hundreds of years ago, the two ancient clans that dominated the northern continent, the Tu clan and the Yu clan, were suppressed by the King of Darkness. Among them, the two clans struggled at death's door, while the Yu clan was annihilated by the emperor and erased from history. This is the only one of the 8 great ancient clans to have its name removed, the Yu clan. Su Yu was shocked. The King of Darkness was really bold, as he had unexpectedly exterminated 2 clans in a row. Among them, the Yu clan was completely uprooted and removed from the world. The remaining 6 great ancient clans occupy the East, South, and West continents, and are on equal footing with the Empire of Darkness, Hua Zhilan said solemnly. During this conversation, Su Yu had learned a lot about the continent's secrets. He had once thought that the Empire of Darkness was an invincible existence in the Zhenlong continent. It was only now that he found out about the legends of the 8 ancient clans. Tu Long had an embarrassed expression on his face. Palace Master Zhilan, what she said is true. 1,000 years ago, the northern continent was occupied by the Tu and Yu clans. Together with the other 6 great ancient clans, they formed an encirclement to deal with the Empire of Darkness. Hundreds of years ago, the Empire of Darkness was besieged by the 8 great ancient clans. The situation was dire. At the critical juncture, the King of Darkness comprehended a divine skill and came out of seclusion. With a force that could sweep through everything, he forced the 8 great ancient clans to retreat. At the same time, we will step into the northern continent and annihilate the Tu and Yu families. Restore the northern continent, the birthplace of the Empire of Darkness. During this process, the Tu family voluntarily surrendered and managed to survive. However, the King of Darkness ordered that no one from the Tu family was allowed to leave the Dark Forest. Otherwise, their names would be erased from this world. Anua City is the furthest the Tu clan can go. Anua City was actually built by the Tu clan. They are the true controllers of Anua City in the dark. As for the Yu family, due to their stubborn resistance, they were completely wiped out by the King of Darkness. The next few hundred years will be the unprecedented golden age of your Empire of Darkness. As a result, the Empire of Darkness has set up branch palaces in the East, South, and West continents at the same time. This shows how terrifying the King of Darkness is. In the Zhenlong continent, the King of Darkness is invincible. After hearing this, Su Yu was shocked for a long time. What a brilliant and unparalleled King of Darkness! It suppressed past generations, swept through the world, and devoured the world. Just who was this invincible supreme being of the continent? Su Yu looked forward to it. Could he reach the level of the King of Darkness by relying on the divine nine-dragon cauldron? After understanding everything, Hua Zhilan smiled faintly. Junior Inu, what do you think? Su Yu's eyes flashed. Haha, the Tu family does not allow us to go, but we insist on going. What he was looking forward to the most was meeting with the people from the Phoenix Cabinet. Even if he was unable to see Xian personally, he would be able to ask about her current situation. After being separated for half a year, he wondered how Xian was doing. The Phoenix Cabinet's master valued her Phoenix of Death bloodline and would definitely nurture her with all her might. With Xian's personality, would she train seriously? Could it be that she was secretly hiding somewhere and playing with a group of children, making a fuss? Or did she miss him? A desolate smile appeared at the corners of Su Yu's mouth. As he thought about it, he suddenly felt sad and slightly bitter. She was his fiancée in name, but they never had a peaceful day together. Did Xian, who had a tender heart, feel lonely? It is just as I thought. The auction is in 3 days. After we attend it, it will be the night of the full moon. We can head straight to the training grounds. Hua Zhilan interrupted Su Yu's thoughts. Su Yu retracted his expression, nodding his head. All right, we will rest here for the next 2 days. After saying this, Su Yu looked at Tu Long. You can go home. Tu Long let out a bitter laugh. Back then, I stubbornly gave up my identity as a member of the Tu family and as the young master of the Tu family, just to see the world outside the Forest of Darkness. Now, how can I return to the clan so easily? Let's follow you and take a look at the Two Clans auction. We might come into contact with some members of the Two Clan there. If they still remember me, we can go back. If they have already forgotten about me, why should we go back and cause them trouble? He was the young master of the Two family? The crowd was shocked. They could not tell that Tu Long had such a background. The young master of the 8 great ancient clans. Such a position was no small matter. But he was someone who had given up his identity as a member of the Tu family. Everything was in the past. The group of people rested peacefully in the inn. Suyu did not forget to train even when he was resting. Now that 9 fingers of imaginary thunder had broken through to Stage 1 top class, he was trying to comprehend Stage 2. Heaven's Sun gazing at air had just broken through to Stage 1 upper class, and he was still a distance away from Stage 2. Lastly was Buddhist Saint's 8 characters. He was only a step away from breaking through to lower class. But strangely, Suyu was unable to break through to the next level. It was as if there was a long threshold between entry and lower class. The difficulty of comprehending this legendary level technique far surpassed immortal level technique. Over the past 4 days, Suyu had made no progress. He had only stabilized his cultivation level at Immortal Realm level 1 peak. If he had the chance, he could try to break through to Immortal Realm level 2. Tonight was the night of the full moon, and it was also the day the Two families' auction would begin. Suyu and the other 3 left the inn, arriving at the Two families' auction house in the center of Anue City. The entrance was heavily guarded. There were at least 10 strong Immortal Realm fighters. A white-haired elder sat in front of a table at the entrance, patiently appraising the item in his hand. Suyu walked forward. The elder did not even raise his head. Stop, hand over the deposit. Many auction houses had similar rules. Suyu said, "How much do I need to pay as a deposit?" The guard replied expressionlessly, "The more you pay, the higher the auction seats you can get. You can even get a seat in the VIP room." Suyu nodded his head, taking out a white dragon plant. He had obtained it from the ancient Xianyan temple, and it had the effect of raising the cultivation level of those below Dragon Realm level 3. The elder did not even raise his head, merely taking a sniff with his nose. A white dragon plant. Lower class seats, place it on the table. Suyu was slightly surprised. What powerful appraisal skills! He could tell that it was a white dragon plant without even looking. Whoosh! Suyu took out a jade box. A fiery red phoenix feather lay quietly within, circulating a resplendent fiery red color. Shreds of warm energy seeped out from the cracks of the jade box. The elder subconsciously took a sniff with his nose, his expression slightly stunned. He could not help but raise his head, his gaze landing on the jade box. He took it and examined it. His indifferent expression gradually changed, becoming serious. "This is a phoenix feather. You are not from the cabinet of the phoenix, right?" "I do not remember them agreeing to participate in the auction." The elder sized up the 4 of them, his eyes filled with suspicion. It was obvious that he was suspicious that the phoenix feather had come from a shady background. Suyu creased his brows. "Just because I am not from the cabinet of the phoenix, does that mean I did not have the chance to obtain the phoenix feather? Since I dared to take it out, I am naturally not afraid of the people from the cabinet of the phoenix finding trouble with me." The elder's tone was unfriendly. "I do not care if you swindled your way here. What I am worried about is people with unknown identities and motives sneaking into the auction to cause trouble." The crowd could not help but be furious. This elder's words were too harsh. He had already reiterated that the phoenix feather had come from a legitimate background, yet he still wanted to label Suyu and his group as swindlers. Creasing his brows, Suyu calmly said, "Let me ask you one question. Is the item I gave you qualified to enter?" For some unknown reason, the elder was extremely hostile towards Suyu and his group. "It is qualified, but I will not allow you to enter. The Two family has never welcomed lowly people like you." The elder was extremely prejudiced, waving his sleeves as if he was chasing away flies. Leave, I will not go back on my word. Lowly people? Su-yu did not know how to communicate with such a stubborn elder. This was the two families' auction house, and he could not afford to lose his temper. He could only suppress his anger. All right, we will not enter the two families' auction house. We will leave now. Tu Long had secretly sent a message that there was another way to enter, and they did not need to go through this elder. Have a safe trip, I will not send you off. The elder sat down, letting out a disdainful laugh. He had seen too many people like Su-yu, who thought that he was at ease after being rejected. Oh, have you finished looking at the phoenix feather? Bring it over if you are. Su-yu grabbed the jade box on the table. But what Su-yu did not expect was for the elder to snatch it first, grabbing the jade box and slowly placing it in his robes. Su-yu's gaze turned cold. What do you mean? The elder did not even raise his head, calmly saying, The Tu family has a duty to confiscate ill-gotten gains. I have said that I obtained this from the master of the Phoenix cabinet. Su-yu's tone was cold. The elder waved his hands in disgust. Noisy! I will contact the Phoenix cabinet to confirm the origins of this item. If it is true, I will return it to you. Come back in 3 months. He forcefully took Su-yu's item, and actually dared to say that Su-yu would take it back in 3 months. Putting aside the question of whether he could get the item back from the onuous city of the 8 great ancient clans. Even if he could, the phoenix feather was a one-time use item. If they used it all, where would he find more? My patience has run out. I will warn you one last time, hand it over. Su-yu was burning with anger. Looking at it now, the elder was purposely making things difficult for him, because he wanted to take the phoenix feather for himself. It was rare for Su-yu to be so shameless in front of so many people. Slap. The elder slammed the table fiercely, brushing his sleeves as he stood up, his face filled with disgust and impatience. I do not wish to repeat myself. Scram. A bunch of lowlifes. Seeing that Su-yu and his group were standing at their original positions, with no intention of leaving, the elder turned his head and berated. Where are the guards? Whoosh whoosh whoosh. 10 strong martial artists of the immortal realm appeared in a flash and surrounded Su-yu and the other 3 people. The leader of the guards was a strong man of immortal realm level 2 lower tier. Elderly, what is going on with these two? The elder who was addressed as elderly had a look of disgust in his eyes. A few lowly people pretended to be from the Phoenix cabinet. I only confiscated their stolen goods. Chase them away. If they don't know what's good for them, we can also capture them. The strong man shot a cold gaze towards Su-yu. How daring. I have seen many impersonators, but I have never heard of anyone impersonating the Phoenix cabinet. Su-yu remained silent, and his face was as cold as ice. They were in cahoot. Su-yu naturally could not be bothered to explain. Only fists could solve problems. Humph. There is no need to quibble. Quibbling is futile. Scram immediately. The strong man thought that Su-yu would defend himself. Without even looking, he raised his hand to chase Su-yu away. Su-yu lifted his head coldly, his eyes filled with killing intent. You asked for it. Chapter 316. The guard leader sneered, causing trouble at the 2 clans' auction house. Before you come, shouldn't you ask around about the surname of the Onua city? He had seen many reckless and ignorant people like Su-yu. Capture them and bring them back for interrogation. The leader of the guards stood at the side and said indifferently. The 9 guards acted swiftly, and they immediately attacked Su-yu and the others from different directions. Su-yu said nothing more. There was only one way to communicate with such a person. Force. Tribulation of ice and thunder. Su-yu shouted in a low voice, and a dark cloud formed in the sky. A purple thunder dragon whizzed down, roaring crazily with Su-yu and the other 3 at its center. Pitter-patter, puff. The 9 immortal realm level 1 guards surrounding him did not even have time to react before they were sent flying by a purple dragon. The eyes of the guard leader, who was standing with his arms crossed, shrunk to the size of a needle. sending 9 immortal realm fighters flying with one strike? After his body stiffened for a moment, the leader of the guards came back to his senses. His heart thumped wildly and he spat out a mouthful of saliva. He put on a brave front and scolded, "How dare you? How dare you hurt the two families' guards?" Su Yu's silver hair fluttered in the wind, and his eyes shone with a sharp light. "Are you joking with me? If I don't hurt them, am I supposed to wait for them to hurt me?" As he finished speaking, he strode towards the guard leader. The leader of the guards forced himself to calm down. "What do you want? If you dare to harm me, the two clan will not forgive you." Su Yu shook his head disdainfully. "This is not something a guard should say. As a guard, you should protect your master, not count on him to back you up," Su Yu said indifferently. As he spoke, Su Yu stepped forward and pointed a finger at him. The leader of the guards was frightened and hurriedly responded, "Do you think I'm afraid of you?" After a while, he calmed down a little. Just now, he was frightened by the tribulation of ice and thunder. Now that he sensed it carefully, he realized that Su Yu was only an immortal level 1, far inferior to him. 3 styles of wind breaker. The guard leader shouted in a low voice. His palms moved like the wind, leaving a series of afterimages in the air. Immortal spirit cultivation method first stage, small success. Su Yu's expression was indifferent, a small ball of lightning forming on his fingertip. Thunder Star Finger. Su Yu only used 30% of its power. Chila Rumble. As soon as they collided, the guard leader's palm was blasted into a bloody mess. Rub, rub, rub. After being forced back 3 steps, the leader of the guards turned pale with fright. Immortal Level 1 Perfection. Who are you? How could a 16-year-old comprehend the first level of an immortal spirit cultivation technique? It was impossible for him not to have been nurtured by any force with such peerless comprehension. Su Yu laughed. "Oh? You're not going to bring me back for interrogation, but to inquire about my background?" Shaking his head, Su Yu stepped forward again and pointed his finger. The leader of the guards felt a sharp pain in his palm. How could he resist it? He hurriedly retreated and roared in sorrow, "Don't go too far." Su Yu couldn't help but laugh out loud. Going too far? Who was the one who wanted to capture me just now? You didn't even give me any chance to quibble and told me to get lost? Not only have you taken my things, but you also want to capture my people. All the good things in the world have been taken by you. Chila Shao Chun sent out another lightning star finger, striking the other party's chest. With a miserable groan, the guard leader fainted on the spot. With just this bit of ability, you want to steal things by force? Su Yu shook his head, shooting a cold gaze toward the elder. At this moment, he saw that the situation was not good and wanted to escape. His old face was pale, his face turning green as he frantically ran toward the interior of the auction house. "You want to leave?" Su Yu ran as if he was flying, his figure like an illusion. He caught up to him and grabbed his neck. Let go." The elder was in pain. Whoosh, Su Yu took out a jade box from his robes, laughing coldly. "You're already so old, yet you're still playing such tricks. Don't you find it embarrassing?" Actually, Su Yu's heart was as clear as a mirror. A master appraiser of the older generation like him had seen countless treasures and people. He knew what kind of person could be greedy for treasures, and what kind of person could not be greedy for treasures. Su Yu's group of 4 did not have high abilities, and their faces were unfamiliar. In addition, they were young and had no elders by their side. They were easy targets to bully. To think that Su Yu's abilities far exceeded what he looked like on the surface, causing them to stumble. "I am an appraiser from the Tu family. It is not too late to stop now. If not, the Tu family would not slap." Su Yu slapped him across the face, causing the old man to see stars. "Unrepentant," Su Yu said coldly. "I have told you time and time again that the phoenix feather has a righteous origin. You should have stopped your greedy heart then. I have tolerated your unreasonable actions, and you should have stopped while you were ahead. Unfortunately, you have challenged my patience time and time again. Do you think that your identity as an appraiser can cover up everything? Suyu threw him to the ground. The elder, who did not have a high cultivation level, spat out blood on the spot. He clutched his waist, letting out a horrible shriek. You say that we are swindlers and despicable. Have you not realized that you are the true despicable one? To covet the items of others, you are unscrupulous. Suyu kept the phoenix feather, his eyes filled with murderous intent. He lifted his leg, wanting to teach this old thing a lesson that he would never forget. At this moment, a green-haired elder walked out quickly from within the auction house. He was close to 50 years old, his hair half white, with a large amount of silver hair mixed in with his black hair. He wore a gray robe, giving off an imposing aura. Please stop, the gray-robed middle-aged man shouted. Suyu looked over, gradually lowering his leg. Why, are you here for revenge? This person was not weak, at Immortal Realm level 2p. He was much stronger than the leader of the guards. The wailing elder on the ground looked as if he had found his savior, crawling to the front of the gray-robed middle-aged man. Master, please help me. This person is cruel by nature, trying to barge into the auction. Slap, but before he could finish his sentence, a giant palm slapped his face fiercely. Under the huge force, the elder lost a few of his teeth, his mouth full of blood. His eyes were wide open. Master, why did you, bastard? Still not apologizing? The ones standing in front of you are Palace Master Jilon and Palace Master Inu. The gray-robed middle-aged man was disappointed. The elder's body turned rigid, his teeth chattering. Palace Master. His lips trembling, the elder looked toward Suyu and Huajilon, filled with fear. I'm sorry. Suyu could not be bothered to look at him. Instead, he turned his attention to the gray-robed middle-aged man, secretly surprised. He had only been Palace Master Inu for a mere 3 months, and had only officially appeared in the sub-palace a month ago. But this person could recognize his and Huajilon's identities at a glance. A thread of caution circled Suyu's heart. The two family was trapped in the dark forest, but they were still so well informed. The two family was not content with the current situation. Chapter 317. With his identity exposed, Suyu would not hesitate. Thank you. After thanking him, he entered the VIP lounge with Huajilon and the other two, led by a maid. Looking at the backs of Suyu and his group of people leaving, Tu Minghua's hearty smile gradually disappeared and was replaced by a gloomy expression. Do you know why I slapped you just now? Tu Minghua said coldly, his hands behind his back. The elder covered his face, saying softly, You misjudged and offended the wrong people. Unexpectedly, Tu Minghua shook his head. What does a mere deputy palace master amount to? Unless Ling Xiaotian descends, these two lasses and brat are not worthy of the two families' fear. I can kill them with just a thought. There is only one reason why you were slapped. You are too petty. You used such methods for a mere phoenix feather. It is not worth it. Tu Minghua stared at the elder in disappointment. Your future depends on how big your heart is. To achieve great things, you must dare to think and dare to act. Tu Minghua seemed to be implying something. The elder shuddered, lowering his head in acknowledgement. Also, did you notice that one-armed youth? Tu Minghua suddenly squinted his eyes. The elder froze, thinking back, his expression slowly changing. He looks like the former young master. Too long. Tu Minghua's eyes glowed. It really is him. After thinking for a long time, Tu Minghua's eyes glowed coldly. Since he has already left, why bother him by returning? Go, inform the young master immediately, let him decide. The elder felt the gravity of the matter, not daring to delay, immediately leaving. VIP lounge. It was spacious and comfortable, overlooking the auction from above. Sitting on the couch, Suyu was deep in thought. The Two family was ultimately a threat to the Empire of Darkness. Why did the King of Darkness leave them alive? With the boldness of the King of Darkness, he was definitely not being merciful. But why did he leave the Two family alone? If the roots were not removed, the weeds would grow again. Could it be that the King of Darkness had some reservations, hence he did not dare to exterminate the Two family? But the King of Darkness was already the undefeatable ruler of the continent, suppressing all previous kings. Who else could stop the King of Darkness? As he was deep in thought, Tu Long let out a self-mocking laugh. Looks like I should not have returned. As smart as he was, it was impossible for him not to notice the unfamiliarity in Tu Minghua's eyes. Su Yu did not reply. This was Tu Long's own choice. The auction was about to begin. The crowd below moved. They came from various forces of the northern continent, and their strength varied. While waiting anxiously, Tu Minghua returned to host the auction. Ladies and gentlemen, the long-awaited auction has officially begun. Tu Minghua's voice rose and fell. The first auction item, please enter the stage. Walala, the curtain was lifted, and two beautiful maids walked over with a tattered ancient scroll in their hands. The first auction item is a beast-taming scroll left behind by the Yu clan, one of the 8 great ancient clans. It's only 30% complete. Hearing this, the audience went into an uproar. More than 90% of the people on the mainland knew nothing about the 8 ancient clans. Only a few people knew about the rumors about them. Who would have thought that the first item to be auctioned in this auction would be the inheritance of the extinct Yu clan of the 8 major ancient clans? As everyone knows, the Yu clan of the 8 great ancient clans are proficient in the art of taming beasts. They can control tens of thousands of beasts for their own use. They have the ability to penetrate through the heavens and the earth. The audience was already in an uproar. Countless people were rubbing their fists, waiting to bid. Even if it was only a third of the scroll, even if its effects were not shocking, it could not match the reputation of one of the 8 great ancient clans. I don't think I need to explain the significance of this scroll. Currently, the client is only willing to exchange it for an immortal level technique, and it must be the complete version. Hearing this, the audience below the stage was instantly more than half gone. An immortal level technique was not difficult for the slightly stronger forces of the northern continent. What was difficult was the complete version. Looking at the world, most of the immortal level techniques passed down from the ancient times were incomplete. The complete version was pathetically rare. Apart from the 3 super forces of the northern continent, the sub-palace of the Empire of Darkness, and the 2 family of the 8 great ancient clans, no other clan could guarantee that they had a complete immortal level technique. Such a high price had blocked most of the people outside the auction. Only a small number of people had hesitation in their eyes. I wonder what type the other party is looking for? Not long after, a questioning voice came from below the stage. Someone was tempted. That's right, let's first explain the type of technique. The value of offensive techniques and support techniques is like heaven and earth. Although they are both offensive techniques, the difference between the different types is like the difference between the clouds and the mud. It is difficult for us to estimate the price of a complete immortal level technique. Tu Minghua smiled and was about to reply. Suddenly, a graceful and indifferent voice resounded in the VIP lounge. Whatever cultivation technique he wants, I have it. This scroll belongs to me. Su Yu was familiar with this voice. Wasn't it one of the 4 great sons of the Snow Listening Tower, Wei Tianqian? His tone was extremely arrogant. He did not ask what technique the other party needed, deciding that he had it. This showed how many complete immortal level techniques the Snow Listening Tower had. An immortal level technique with a fire element. Tu Minghua looked toward the VIP lounge. The room was silent for a moment. Creak, a fiery red scroll was thrown out. Tu Minghua grabbed it with his palm, flipping through it. He was full of smiles as he threw the incomplete scroll into the VIP lounge. Congratulations, the exchange is a success. The crowd looked toward Wei Tianqian's VIP lounge, their eyes filled with shock. Su Yu was even more surprised. Could it be that Wei Tianqian carried many techniques with him? Hua Zhilan's expression turned serious. As expected of the heavenly book Wei Tianqian, it is rumored that he has a photographic memory and has a photographic memory. He can remember anything that he has seen. Furthermore, he has cultivated a special technique that allows him to extract the memories from his mind and imprint them on a piece of paper. Hence, he is called the Heavenly Book. There was such an extraordinary person in the world. Su Yu was secretly shocked. Following which, the auction continued. But the dozens of items were all normal items, far from being as attractive as the first item. Until an item appeared. Next, it is an item from the Tu family. Tu Minghua personally took out a small jade bottle from his robes. A drop of fiery red liquid lay quietly within. The moment it appeared, the divine ice ring on Su Yu's finger moved restlessly. Su Yu was slightly shocked. The divine ice ring was a broken divine artifact. It had been completely destroyed and lost most of its spiritual qualities. Even so, it moved restlessly and its spiritual qualities were stimulated. What was that red spiritual liquid for it to be so shocking? The crowd below the stage, which had been silent for a long time, once again erupted in cheers. Oh my God! It is the Tu family's 10,000 soldier liquid. Legend has it that after soaking in it, it can erase the owner's imprint. It is an item unique to the Tu family, one of the 8 great ancient clans. 10,000 soldier liquid. Tu Long had a nostalgic expression. Within the 10,000 soldier pool, a drop is formed every 10 years. If one obtains it, it can be used to cleanse divine artifact. After 10,000 years of accumulation, there was once a small pool. Unfortunately, it was snatched away by the King of Darkness. Over the hundreds of years, the amount that the Tu family had accumulated was very little. Chapter 3:18. Even if it's the original solution, I'll need a total of 10 drops to successfully wash away the mark of the divine weapon's master. As for the diluted solution, I'll need about 100 drops. On the auction stage, Tu Minghua's voice was full of emotion. That's right, this is the 10,000 soldier liquid. A drop of concentrated liquid can forcefully wash away its owner's imprint if there is a divine artifact. This is the first time the Tu family has taken it out for auction, and also the last time. The audience was in an uproar as they were shocked. Obtaining this liquid was equivalent to obtaining a divine artifact. Many forces were familiar with divine artifact. Even if he had never obtained a complete divine artifact, he had obtained a fragmented one. However, it had already recognized him as its master, so he was unable to use it. If one was able to obtain a single drop, it would mean that one would be able to successfully possess a divine artifact. Even Su Yu was extremely tempted at this moment. In his hands, the divine ice ring could only display 30% of its power at its peak. What is the price? I want it. It was Wei Tianqian again. As soon as these words were spoken, it aroused the dissatisfaction of the audience. Wait, why only you? I want the 10,000 soldier liquid too. Tell me, what do you want in exchange? The people below the stage were red-eyed and the atmosphere was unprecedentedly lively. Compared to the first beast-taming scroll, it was more than twice as intense. Tu Minghua chuckled and said, "The price is simple, a divine artifact." A divine artifact for a drop of 10,000 soldier liquid. The audience seemed to have been splashed with a layer of ice water, deathly silent. Such a transaction was truly not worth it. Even Wei Tianqian hesitated for a moment before saying, "I wonder if the divine weapon you are referring to is complete or incomplete." Tu Minghua replied, "Of course it's complete. What's the use of it being incomplete?" Even with Wei Tianqian's magnanimity, he was still hesitating. A complete divine tool was something that could only be chanced upon and not sought after. Such a transaction would be a waste of a heavenly treasure. At this moment, a leisurely voice came from another VIP room. I have a divine artifact in my hands, and I'm willing to exchange it. Chila, a small bronze cauldron, flew out from the VIP lounge. It was used to refine spirit pills. However, Tu Minghua merely glanced at it before flicking his finger and sending it back. Sorry, we can't exchange. Why? The people in the VIP lounge were still able to keep their composure. Tu Minghua looked around. What I want is not a low-grade divine artifact, but a mid-grade divine artifact. The crowd was in an uproar. Has the Tu clan gone crazy from wanting the divine artifact? To think that he can think of a complete middle-rank divine artifact. Even the northern continent's 3 superpowers only have one intermediate-grade divine artifact. How could they take it out and trade with them so easily? What a joke. A medium divine weapon is equivalent to a remnant of a legendary level technique. Its value is far from what a drop of 10,000 soldier liquid can compare to. Hee, the Tu clan wants to test their luck. Is there anyone who is willing to be tricked? The crowd gradually quietened down. Tu Minghua was slightly disappointed. This auction has failed. Next, Suyu could not help but cast a sidelong glance toward the VIP lounge where the small bronze cauldron had been thrown. He raised his brows slightly. That is Han Jianglin, right? Zi Yunxiang clenched her fists tightly. Yes. I will never forget his voice. It was indeed him. If that was the case, Han Jianglin had indeed come all the way to Anhua City for the auction. He just didn't know which one he needed. The rest of the auction was lackluster. Suyu was not very interested in the last few items. His gaze was still on the cabinet of the Phoenix. Unfortunately, it was as the elder at the entrance had said. The cabinet of the Phoenix did not participate. This is the last item of the show. The final item that everyone has been waiting for. Before the item appeared, the crowd was already in an uproar. It was an auction held once every half a year. Every time, the final item was a shocking item. Whoosh! 10 immortal realm fighters circulated their spirit energy at the same time, laboriously lifting a silver bow. There was only a bow, no arrows. The body of the bow was carved with a silver dragon, vivid and lifelike. It was filled with spirituality, as if it was alive. Apart from the broken divine spear, this was the divine artifact with the strongest spirituality that Suyu had ever seen. The last item is... Tu Minghua kept the crowd in suspense. He said excitedly, "It is the intermediate-grade divine artifact, the Mountain River Dragon Bow. This bow has no arrows. It only requires the spirit energy in one's body to form an arrow. The power of the arrow depends on the strength of the spirit energy. The stronger the user, the more powerful the power." The crowd was dead silent. They were all in shock. Intermediate-grade divine artifact. How is that possible? The treasure of such a super force is actually being auctioned? Hiss. Am I dreaming? In the past, the most valuable item in the auction was never as valuable as this. Is this going to start a great war in the North Continent? This bow was worth it for them to fight over. The Snow Listening Tower is taking this bow. Wei Tianqian stood up, his heart thumping. He looked at the bow through the VIP room, his breathing rapid. A intermediate-grade divine artifact was too shocking. I'm sorry, this bow belongs to the 100 Territories Alliance. Han Jianglin was calm and composed, unwilling to pass on the responsibility. 2 of the 3 super forces of the North Continent had appeared. The crowd was even more silent, no one daring to challenge it. Su Yu's eyes were filled with passion, his emotions surging. It was actually a bow. The first weapon Su Yu had used was Xia Jingyu's fiery red bow. Now, just as the divine ice ring was about to be destroyed, an intermediate-grade divine artifact bow had appeared in front of him. Could it be fate? Wei Tianqian let out a cold grunt. Alliance Master Han, I am here on the orders of the Snow Listening Tower's master to retrieve this bow. I hope that Alliance Master Han will let me have this bow. Han Jianglin let out a calm laugh. A child like you has the right to ask me to back down? It would be the Snow Listening Tower's master himself who descends. You are still lacking. Master 2, let's talk about the conditions of the bow's owner. Tu Minghua's smile was the same as before. The conditions are simple, a fire-based divine herb. When the two words divine herb entered everyone's ears, it was like a bolt of lightning. Divine herb? It is a legendary item. It is said that it can be exchanged for a remnant of a legendary level technique. How can a divine herb exist in this world? Could the bow's owner have intentionally taken it out to create trouble, knowing that there is no divine herb? In no time, everyone had their own opinions. Wei Tianxin's expression changed, turning ugly. Could it be that there is only a divine herb? It was obvious that Wei Tianxin was stumped. Tu Minghua nodded his head. The other party said that he would only exchange for a fire-based divine herb. Clenching his fists, Wei Tianxin was unwilling to give up, but he observed everything closely. Han Jianglin's expression was calm, taking out a jade box. A fiery red plant laid quietly in the box. It looked like a jade sculpture, its entire body flowing with a crystalline glow. The only flaw was that 30% of the plant had been destroyed, and it was not complete. Flaming Heaven Jade Plant, a fire-based divine herb. The crowd was in an uproar. This can't be real, right? It would have been fine if there was a divine herb. To think that he could take out a fire-based divine herb. It cannot be a coincidence. It is obvious that this medium-grade divine artifact was set for Han Jianglin. That's right, if I am not wrong, the bow's owner had the intention of giving it to Han Jianglin. The auction was merely a process. Su Yu's eyes turned serious. Who was making a deal with Han Jianglin? What kind of existence was able to exchange for a medium-grade divine artifact? Should he participate in the competition? At this moment, Yun Yazi's urging came from the jade box in Su Yu's robes. Kid, why are you not bidding for it? There are many secrets within this silver bow, and it is not as simple as the medium-grade divine artifact on the surface. Chapter 319. What? The medium-grade divine artifact was just a facade, and there was more to the silver bow. Without any hesitation, Su Yu spoke. Master 2, may I ask, if it is a fire-based divine herb, how should it be decided and who should it be exchanged with? Could the owner of the silver bow be present? Tu Minghua's expression froze, but he quickly understood. Of course it depends on value. The highest bidder wins is the auction's motto. He naturally could not be twisted on such an important matter. Since that is the case, I also have a fire-based divine herb to offer. Creak. A jade box was thrown over, sealed within it was a burning raging flame herb. It was the ice and fire herbs. Su Yu kept the ice herb, while the fire herb was exchanged. The crowd's expression changed. Another fire-based divine herb. My God, is he crazy today? 2 divine herbs in a row. Look, be it its completeness, freshness, or the energy it contains, the latter far surpasses the former. Tu Minghua's expression froze, at a loss for a moment. But he reacted quickly, smiling as he threw Han Jianglin's back. He, the highest bidder wins. Congratulations, this mountain river dragon bow belongs to you. This bow is extremely heavy, please come backstage to exchange. Saying this, he did not allow Su Yu to speak, bringing the silver bow back to the backstage. Su Yu and the rest immediately left the VIP lounge, going backstage. The so-called backstage was merely a narrow corridor. There was only a curtain separating them from the audience stand. At this moment, Tu Minghua was waiting for Su Yu with a smile. Where's the bow? Su Yu immediately asked. He saw the immortal realm fighters carrying the silver bow, heading deeper into the corridor, with no intention of exchanging it with Su Yu. What do you mean? Su Yu's expression turned cold. Tu Minghua smiled warmly. Palace Master Inu, please calm down and listen to me. This mountain river dragon bow has caught the eye of the Tu family, so it naturally belongs to the Tu family. This has been the case in the past auctions. The Tu family has the priority to obtain it. Tu Minghua explained. Su Yu froze, his expression turning cold. You mean to say that this auction is invalid? Tu Minghua nodded. You can say that. I apologize for disturbing Palace Master Yin. The Tu family will compensate you later. Su Yu was furious, but he could not refute him. The Tu clans' auction was the Tu clans' territory. The rules were naturally set by them. As an outsider, if he didn't want to shed all pretense of cordiality, he could only endure this unreasonable rule. However, Su Yu's eyes glowed coldly. Since that is the case, return my divine herb. Tu Minghua laughed lightly. Palace Master Yin, the situation is like this. We have already handed over your divine herb to the guest. He has already left. I think it will be very difficult to catch up to him. What? Ziyunxiang was shocked. Since you are not willing to trade with Yin, why did you give his item to someone else? Tu Minghua chuckled and said, regarding this, our Tu family can only offer our full compensation. Whoosh, Tu Minghua took out a jade bottle that contained a drop of 10,000 soldier liquid. The value of this drop of 10,000 soldier liquid is not inferior to a middle-grade divine artifact. Seeing that we are in the wrong, I will give it to Palace Master Yin as compensation. Tu Minghua did not allow Su Yu to explain and stuffed the item into Su Yu's palm. Then, he cupped his fists and turned to chase after the team that was escorting the silver bow. Su Yu laughed deeply. Master Tu, are you joking with me? You took my item and exchanged it for someone else's silver bow. Then, you threw me a drop of 10,000 soldier liquid that no one wants and sent me away? Do you think that I am easy to bully? If Tu Minghua was unwilling to trade the silver bow with Su Yu and return the divine herb, Su Yu would not have complained, even if he felt regretful. But since Tu Minghua had given his item to the guest, it meant that Su Yu and the guest had already completed the trade. The divine herb belonged to the guest. The silver bow belonged to Su Yu. But the Tu family had interfered, taking away the silver bow that belonged to Su Yu and throwing him a drop of 10,000 soldier liquid that was diluted 10 times. This bottle of spiritual liquid had attracted scorn and ridicule at the auction just now. Even if it was the original liquid, it could not compare to a middle-grade divine artifact. Furthermore, the Tu family had done something in secret, deceiving the crowd and diluting it 10 times. This was too much of a bully. Hearing this, Tu Minghua turned his head, his expression displeased. Palace Master Yin, must you be so unreasonable? I have already used my precious 10,000 soldier liquid as compensation. Logically speaking, our auction house has suffered a loss. Su Yu laughed angrily. You are using a drop of something that no one wants to brush me off? Since you feel that you have suffered a loss, fine, I will return the spiritual liquid to you. Hand over my silver bow. Tu Minghua's expression turned cold. Palace Master Yin, I respect you as a palace master. Do not cause trouble in my territory. Otherwise, this is not a palace of the empire. Tu Minghua finally revealed his true colors. Su Yu could not help but laugh loudly. Unreasonable! You used a bottle of diluted trash to exchange for my middle-grade divine artifact. You even said that I have profited. Su Yu laughed angrily. Tu Minghua, don't force me to attack. To one's surprise, Tu Minghua's expression turned cold. Humph! Palace Master Yin, I think your brain is muddled, unable to distinguish right from wrong. I'm sorry, the Tu family's auction house does not welcome you. I will count to 3, leave immediately. If not, don't blame me for using force. Using trash to exchange for Su Yu's treasure, he still wanted to chase Su Yu away. Su Yu's lips formed a cold smile. There is no need to count. I have already been extremely benevolent toward the Tu family. Do not blame me, you are the ones who forced me. Chapter 320. At this moment. Hee, Palace Master Yin, what arrogance! A mocking voice came from deep within the corridor. They saw the traitor of the Shintian manor, Gao Tsang, standing beside the mountain river dragon bow, laughing coldly. A group of people lifted the silver bow in front of him. Gao Tsang took a light breath, revolving the spirit energy in his body, lifting the bow with difficulty. As an immortal level 2 peak, he could lift the bow with his full strength. Su Yu's gaze turned cold. Hee. Didn't you say just now that the Tu family wanted this bow? In the blink of an eye, you gave it to someone else? Raising 3 fingers, Tu Minghua calmly said, since the silver bow belongs to the Tu family, I think that an outsider like Palace Master Inu has no right to interfere. From now on, Putting down 1 finger, Tu Minghua's expression was cold. Just as he had said, the greater the human heart, the wider the future. A mere phoenix feather was not worthy of him, extending his greedy hands. A deputy palace master of the Empire of Darkness was also not worthy of his attention. But the mountain river dragon bow, a divine herb equivalent to a legendary level cultivation technique, was worth the risk, even at the expense of offending the Empire of Darkness. Gao Tsang held the silver bow, letting out a cold laugh. Palace Master Yin Yu is rich and overbearing. I believe that you would not mind helping the 100 Territories Alliance by a middle-grade divine artifact? In summary, Han Jianglin had obtained the Mountain River Dragon Bow without paying any price. It was Su Yu who had paid the shocking price of a legendary remnant scroll in exchange for the bow. But now, with the two families' favoritism, they had successfully obtained the bow without spending a single cent. In other words, Su Yu had spent money on their behalf to buy the silver bow. This can be considered as your repayment to the 100 Territories Alliance. After all, you came from the Alliance. As a person, you cannot be too ungrateful. Gao Tsang let out an evil laugh. Holding the divine artifact, he lifted the curtains with one hand and walked out. Su Yu let out a disdainful laugh. To hear the words ungrateful from the mouth of an ungrateful traitor, how ironic. You are willing to be Han Jianglin's lackey. Su Yu let out a laugh, looking down on Gao Tsang from the bottom of his heart. A person could be poor, but his ambitions could not be short. Not only was Gao Tsang poor, but he also lacked ambition. Gao Tsang's expression turned slightly gloomy. He clenched his fists and resisted the urge to attack. He then looked at Su Yu with disdain. Just bark there. I will accept your silver bow on behalf of Alliance Master Han. Shua. After he finished speaking, Gao Tsang lifted the curtains with his palm, wanting to leave. Su Yu's smile turned ice-cold. Who allowed you to leave? As he spoke, Su Yu turned his head to look at Zi Yunxiang. I killed a traitor for Housemaster Zi. Housemaster, you won't blame me, right? Gao Tsang's defection to the enemy caused Zi Yunxiang to be disappointed and disgusted. Then, he shamelessly boasted and advised her to surrender to Han Jianglin. He had no regrets at all, and Zi Yunxiang only had hatred for him. Go ahead and kill them. Even if you don't do anything, if father is here, he will definitely clean up the family. This kind of disloyal, unjust, and sinister person, everyone has the right to punish them. If father finds out, he will only thank you. Su Yu nodded his head in relief. If that is the case, I will reluctantly help Housemaster Zi dirty his hands for once. Zi Yunxiang's reply caused Gao Tsang's heart to feel a stab of pain. At the same time, he was burning with a boundless fury. He could not help but laugh angrily. Yin Yu, do you think that you are so great just because you have become a deputy palace master? You are so arrogant that you want to kill me? A toad trying to eat the moon, you do not know the immensity of heaven and earth. At this moment, Tu Minghua's expression became even colder. He put down his second finger and squeezed out the words from between his teeth. 2. There is no need to count. Su Yu's right eye was filled with a red glow. Creak, a bolt of space energy suddenly appeared beside Gao Tsang's body. How could the strong martial artists of the Alliance not know about Su Yu's magical space abilities? Gao Tsang's expression changed. He grabbed the silver bow tightly and said coldly, "You want to move my silver bow? Don't even think about it." Su Yu's right eye released a red glow, giving off a magnificent dim glow. "Who told you that I am a teleportation bow? The person I want to teleport is you." Creak, suddenly, the sound of space tearing could be heard. A boundless space energy engulfed Gout Song and the silver bow. When they appeared again, the space in front of Su Yu fluctuated, and a figure fell out from within. Before Gout Song could see the surrounding situation clearly, he heard a cold grunt. Purple Star Thunderbolt! In a situation where 60% of its power was unleashed, it was equally frightening. Gout Song suddenly felt that a destructive thunderbolt energy was very close to him. At the same time that his heart was thumping, Gout Song's expression changed in shock, and he blocked it hurriedly. But how could he block the extremely strong thunderbolt energy in a hurry? Rumble, a deafening roar tore the curtains apart. There was no longer any barrier between the backstage and the audience. The audience, who were preparing to leave, were shocked. When they turned their heads to look, they saw Gout Song flying backward, spitting out blood and crashing heavily onto the main stage. After which, a silver-haired figure appeared in front of Gout Song as if he had teleported and picked up the silver bow that had fallen onto the ground. When the Mountain River Dragon bow was in his hands, at once, a shockingly heavy feeling assaulted him. Su Yu could not do anything to it with just the strength of his physical body. The silver bow was as if it had grown from the ground and did not move an inch. Without a choice, Su Yu revolved his spirit energy and picked it up with great difficulty. He then straightened his back with difficulty. The feeling that the weight of the bow was no less than 100-foot mountain. Just holding it was already so strenuous. If he wanted to pull it open, wouldn't it be even more difficult? Furthermore, with a great enemy before him, holding the bow in his hands would be a hindrance regardless of whether he was escaping or fighting. Su Yu's eyes flashed. With a thought, his chest became slightly hot. He then saw the silver bow in his hands suddenly disappear. The Cosmos Mirror. In the entire Zhenlong continent, there were no more than 5 people who possessed the item obtained from the historical remains. It was 10 square meters in size and was more than enough to store the silver bow. Gout Song wiped away the blood, his pupils dilating. "Where did you hide the bow? Darn it, it's the magical space ability again." Whoosh! As soon as he finished speaking, Su Yu dashed toward him and stomped his foot on his chest. Poor Gout Song opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of blood. His internal organs were crushed. "What you should be concerned about is not the bow, but your life. I have said that I will help Housemaster Z to clean up the sect." Su Yu's expression was calm, his eyes filled with indifference. He did not feel any guilt killing this kind of person. But, just as he was about to kill him, chirp! The sharp sound of something breaking through the air came from behind him without warning. Su Yu let out a cold smile, his head tilting to the side. He was prepared, dodging a black dart. The tip of the dart was smeared with a green liquid. It was dipped in poison. The two family even dared to poison a deputy palace master of the Empire of Darkness. They were unexpectedly daring. Where did they get their confidence from? The two family was ultimately a threat to the Empire of Darkness. They would be a threat if they did not get rid of them. A bolt of killing intent circled Su Yu's eyes. He turned around and sneered. "Not going to continue counting? There's still 3, you haven't finished counting." Tu Minghua's face turned slightly red. How could he have expected Su Yu to hide his abilities so well? First, Su Yu had used space teleportation to catch him off guard, then heavily injuring Gout Song when he was unprepared. In his eyes, even though this was a sneak attack, Tu Minghua, who was nearby, was unable to save Gout Song. Moreover, Su Yu had snatched the Mountain River Dragon bow, its whereabouts unknown. This was a great humiliation. If he had used force from the start, instead of thinking that everything was under his control and insisting on counting to 3, the situation might have been different. Chapter 321. Regardless of the consequences, he had to smear Su Yu's name first. After all, the various powerhouses of the North Continent were present. The two families' image could not be destroyed. Su Yu remained calm, standing with his hands behind his back. Oh? Snatching someone else's item? Are you talking about the Mountain River Dragon Bow? Master Tu, why don't you say it again in front of everyone? Was it me or Gout Song who won the bid for that bow? Why is the silver bow that I paid a heaven-defying price to obtain Gout Song's item in your mouth? Why is the item that should have belonged to me in Gout Song's hands? Do you think that I, Silver, am being unreasonable? Could it be that everyone is being unreasonable? Tu Minghua's expression froze. In front of everyone, any unreasonable behavior would damage the two families' image. Unfortunately, the crowd below was already whispering. Those who could represent their factions were definitely intelligent people. Even though they did not reveal the details, they could roughly guess what had happened. Hee. The two-family auction house also does such a thing as swallowing the treasures of the bidders? Furthermore, they actually targeted a vice palace master of the Empire of Darkness. Their guts are shocking. Ha ha ha, as expected, the two-family would definitely not sit idly by for a medium-grade divine artifact. But surprisingly, he even dared to target a vice palace master of the Empire of Darkness. I do not understand where the two families' confidence comes from. After a few hundred years, did they forget the pain after the wound healed? Are they not afraid of angering the King of Darkness and completely destroying the two family? What I think is even more strange is how the silver bow that Palace Master Yin bid for ended up in Gaotsong's hands. This is an interesting plot. If I am not wrong, the two family and Han Jianglin must have reached some sort of agreement. They might have even secretly leaked the requirements of the owner of the silver bow to Han Jianglin. That is why he came prepared. Thus, when Palace Master Yin appeared midway and snatched the silver bow, the two family thought of a way to pass it to Han Jianglin. But what they did not expect was for Palace Master Yin to act so decisively, turning hostile on the spot. Hearing this, Tu Minghua knew that the situation was not good. He had to end this quickly. If he allowed them to continue discussing, the two families' reputation would be ruined. The only thing he could do now was to quickly capture Su Yu and have the two family explain themselves. If not, the consequences would be dire. Palace Master Yin, the Tu clan has already explained the cause of the matter very clearly. You are twisting words and forcing logic, maliciously slandering the Tu clan. Even if you are the deputy palace master of the empire, you can't be so presumptuous. Palace Master Yin, please make a trip with us to give us an explanation. Tu Minghua walked over with big strides, his expression cold. The audience was in an uproar. Does the Tu family not want to live anymore? How dare you treat a deputy palace master of the Empire of Darkness like this? There's going to be a good show. Let's wait and see. Su Yu smiled calmly. You want to capture me, then bring out that specious theory of yours? Tu Minghua took a big step forward. His aura of an immortal level 2 peak was extremely heavy. Shaking his head, Tu Minghua said calmly, unrepentant. My Tu family does not mind disciplining you on behalf of the Empire of Darkness. Sky Water Seal. Tu Minghua's body trembled, and his entire body turned into wisps of weak aura, merging with the surroundings. Under the influence of spiritual energy, the water vapor condensed into a palm-sized water seal. Su Yu smiled without saying a word. A ball of thunder condensed on his right finger. Purple arcs of lightning shot forth, releasing a frightening power. Tu Minghua shook his head. How regretful. You cannot mount a sneak attack a second time. But Su Yu continued to smile without saying a word, standing at his original position. Only when the opponent's Sky Water Seal attacked did Su Yu extend his finger. In that instant, the ball of thunder doubled in size. A destructive thunderbolt energy that far surpassed what he had previously felt surged. Creak, rumble, The water seal evaporated into water vapor under the attack of the dreamy purple thunderbolt. The ball of thunder struck Tu Minghua's body without any resistance. Thump! With a dull thud, Tu Minghua was sent flying back to the backstage, crashing into the wall. The wall cracked, breaking into pieces. Tu Minghua's eyes protruded, his body exploding, blood and flesh splattering everywhere. With just one attack, he was severely injured and half dead. Everyone below the stage was shocked. He could kill an immortal level 2 peak in a direct confrontation? Hiss. If I am not wrong, this palace master Inu is only 16 years old. What frightening talent. Wait. How did his abilities increase so quickly? I heard that he was only Dragon Realm level 5 at the Alliance meet. In just half a year, he broke through to Immortal level 1 peak. His battle abilities no weaker than an Immortal level 2 peak? With such frightening talent, he could be called a super genius, one of the best in the North Continent. It is hard to understand why Han Jianglin was so determined to kill Inu back then. Haha, no matter the reason, I think Han Jianglin's expression must be ugly now. He was supposed to be a super genius of the 100 Territories Alliance, but now he has become a Vice Palace Master of the Empire of Darkness. In the VIP lounge, Han Jianglin's expression was dark, ugly. The little ant that he could kill with a wave of his hand back then had now displayed the battle abilities of a super genius? At 16 years old, he had the battle abilities of Gaotsong, one of the 3 heavenly kings of the Xintian Manor. No matter what reason he had, in the eyes of an outsider, Han Jianglin had handed a super genius over to someone else. The battle abilities Su Yu had displayed were shocking. Tu Minghua's eyes were wide open, pain and shock filling his face. In his eyes, the Vice Palace Master that he could kill with a wave of his hand had hidden the ability to kill him. Su Yu took a step forward, his gaze cold. I could easily kill you head-on. Why would I need to launch a sneak attack? At this moment, Tu Minghua's pupils shrank to the extreme, hiding his fear. At this moment, he thought back to his disciple. His disciple had suffered at the hands of Su Yu, and his reflection was that he had misjudged Su Yu. But he had warned his disciple that Inu was not worth mentioning. His mistake was that he was not ambitious enough. How laughable was that when he thought back to it? The one who had misjudged Su Yu was his master. Rumble. Su Yu walked forward, striking Tu Minghua's chest with a palm, killing him. No. I can apologize. Tu Minghua's expression changed, blurting out. This shout caused the audience below the stage to completely understand. It was indeed Tu Minghua who owed Su Yu first. But Su Yu was not so merciful. I do not need your apology. But just as he was about to kill Tu Minghua, a figure flickered over, blocking in front of Tu Minghua. It was none other than Tu Long. With a bitter expression, Tu Long begged, Palace Master Inu, on account that he is from the same clan as me, please let him off. Su Yu's figure froze, his expression cold. Move aside. He had to remove the roots of the problem. If not for Su Yu's exceptional abilities, he would be the one dead today. At that time, if Tu Long begged, would Tu Minghua spare Su Yu's life? The answer was no. You should remember the reason why you are still alive. Su Yu was merciless. Tu Long's bitterness deepened. He had assassinated the Vice Palace Master. This was a huge crime, punishable by death. It was Su Yu who had let him off, giving him a chance to return to Anua City. Chapter 322. Putong. What surprised everyone was that Tu Long bent his knees and knelt in front of Su Yu. He prostrated himself on the ground and kowtowed deeply. I know that I am not qualified to beg for your forgiveness. I am willing to serve you for 3 years. Please spare his life. A man's knees are made of gold. The former young master of the Tu clan, the second in command of the Black Water Pirates, had once held a high position and looked down on the masses, accepting the worship of others. But now, he was kneeling in front of Su Yu and begging for mercy for an unfamiliar clansman. Su Yu's heart trembled. Is it worth it? In their hearts, you might not even be the young master. He could no longer return to the Tu family. Tu Long laughed self-deprecatingly. I have no face to return to the Tu family, but the blood of the Tu family still flows in my veins. I have been unfilial for 10 years, and I have no face to return. I only ask that I serve you for 3 years, and do my best to leave some hope for my clansmen. Palace Master Inu, please grant me my wish. Tu Long kowtowed heavily once again. The sound of kowtowing was very loud, very deep, and also very bitter. Perhaps this was the last thing a prodigal son who could not return could do for his family. If a man has no heart, he will live. If he has no roots, he will die. His family was probably one of the few knots in Tu Long's heart. The fox dies on the hill, not to mention the man. Su Yu slowly retracted his finger, then silently turned around and said, all of you should leave. This is the only time. Tu Minghua stared deeply at the kneeling Tu Long, his voice hoarse. You are young master, Tu Long? Tu Long slowly stood up, with his back facing him. He lightly said, still not leaving? A glint flashed across Tu Minghua's eyes as he fled with great difficulty. You should also leave, Su Yu said calmly. You and I have nothing to do with each other anymore, and I don't need you to serve me for 3 years. Su Yu had always respected people who valued relationship. Tu Long laughed at himself. My body and cultivation are crippled, but my heart is not. I, Tu Long, have never broken my promises. Su Yu looked at him deeply and let out a deep sigh. Do whatever you want. I hope you won't regret this. After he spoke, Su Yu returned to the auction stage. Gao Tsong had yet to execute the traitor of the Xintian manor. However, Gao Tsong was no longer there. He had taken advantage of the battle just now to escape. In his cold eyes, Su Yu's murderous intents were ice-cold. I have said that I will kill you today. No matter who protects you, it is useless. His gaze landed on Han Jianglin's VIP room. Only Han Jianglin and the 30-year-old woman were there. Gao Tsong had openly made an enemy of the Empire's vice-palace master. As Han Jianglin, it was naturally inconvenient for him to step out and support Gao Tsong. As expected, Gao Tsong escaped to a secret place and waited for Su Yu to leave before being brought back by Han Jianglin. It was just that the auction house was in plain sight, so he could only go outside. Whoosh, with a flash of his figure, Su Yu broke through the roof and stood high up in the sky. His crystalline pupils revolved, and everything within a 50-mile radius was under his control. Sweeping his gaze across the crowd, he saw a figure dragging a heavily injured person who had blended into the crowd. Follow me. Su Yu turned his head and gave a light shout. Hua Jilan and Zi Yunxiang flew over one after another. In the VIP lounge, bang! With a bang, the wooden chair Han Jianglin sat on turned into wood shavings that filled the sky. He clenched his fists, and killing intent surged in the depths of his eyes. Snatching his silver bow right in front of him, chasing after his disciple. Thinking about how he had killed his son, Han Jianglin wished he could tear Su Yu into pieces. But he could not attack Su Yu directly. Yulian, go. Remember, unless you can kill him, do not show yourself. The 30-year-old woman beside him nodded her head coldly. Yes, I will definitely complete the mission. Han Jianglin nodded his head. And, with your abilities, you can definitely kill him in one strike. Even though he has trained his immortal-level technique to stage 1 top class, he has no chance of surviving in your hands. Zhen Yulian, 100 Territories Alliance Deputy Master, ranked 3rd, Immortal Realm Level 3 Upper Tier. With Su Yu's abilities, he would definitely not be able to escape. Within the crowd, Gao Tsong seemed to have sensed something. He turned his head to look at the sky, his expression changing in shock. It was Su Yu leading a group of people to kill him. He had wanted to escape back to the inn quietly. But looking at it now, he could only escape as far as he could. Whoosh, dragging his heavily injured body, Gaotsong escaped for his life. In the face of death, Gaotsong suppressed his injuries and activated his speed. He was as fast as lightning, traversing several miles in the blink of an eye. Su Yu chased after him. After 2 hours, they had chased him out of Onua's city and entered the dark forest. Gaotsong used the cover of the forest to hide himself, making it difficult for Su Yu to deal with him. But he could not withstand his injuries, and Su Yu caught up to him. "Yin, why do you have to kill me? There is no hatred between us." Gaotsong staggered and fell to the ground. His face was pale, his eyes filled with despair. Su Yu floated down, his expression cold. "Now that things have come to this, what is the point of begging for mercy? Han Jianglin is in charge of the Shintian manor. You had no choice. You were thinking about your life, your future. You had no choice but to submit to him and become his disciple. I can understand that. But what I cannot understand is that you are not apologetic and do not repent. You are not ashamed, but proud of it. You advised Yunxiang shamelessly to surrender to the enemy like you. You worked for Han Jianglin, but I did not see any apologetic feelings from you. Instead, you enjoyed it. Have you ever thought of Housemaster Z's kindness in nurturing you?" Su Yu walked forward, his eyes filled with a cold glow. There must be a price for betrayal. Housemaster Z is not here, so I will take it back for him. Feeling Su Yu's intent to kill, Gaotsong knew that he would definitely die. Hence, he became even more ruthless. "Yin, so what if I am a traitor? So what if I am ungrateful? What does it have to do with you? Do I need you to be a busybody?" Gaotsong clenched his teeth and roared furiously, as if he wanted to eat someone. Creak, Su Yu's gaze turned cold. He pierced Gaotsong's dantian with one finger, crippling his cultivation level. "I am indeed not qualified. Yunxiang should not have a problem, right?" Su Yu took a step back, letting Zi Yunxiang do it. Zi Yunxiang's eyes were filled with coldness, without any pity. "Do you have anything else to say?" Gaotsong's expression turned stiff. Zi Yunxiang was the daughter of the housemaster. If she did not have the right, no one else had the right. "If you have nothing to say, then die." Zi Yunxiang let out a low grunt, attacking decisively. But at the moment when he was about to attack, "Haha, a group of people bullying a defenseless person. Don't you feel ashamed?" An elegant, calm laugh came from a large tree not far away. He saw an elegant young man with a jade-like face floating on the branch of the tree, laughing in a condescending manner. Su Yu had a deep impression of this person. When he entered the city, in order to curry favor with Senior Wei, not only did he cut the queue, he even used his folding fan to point at Senior Wei's chest, forcing him to retreat. This person was none other than one of the 4 great sons of the Snow Listening Tower. With a cultivation level of Immortal Realm Level 3 lower tier, his abilities were not to be underestimated. Su Yu's cold gaze swept past him. "What does it have to do with you? Stand to the side and be quiet." Toward this person, even though Su Yu did not want to kill him, it was difficult for him to have a good impression of him. Moreover, it was obvious that he had followed Su Yu from the auction house all the way here. His motive was obvious. Wei Tianchen was determined to get the Mountain River Dragon Bow. Whoosh! The young man floated down, his posture elegant and unhurried. He wore a warm smile, ignoring Su Yu's hostile attitude, introducing himself. "I am the last of the 4 great sons of the Snow Listening Tower, Zhang Shui." 4 great sons? Zi Yunxiang and Hua Zhilan were secretly shocked. Being in the North Continent, how could he not know the 4 great sons of the Snow Listening Tower? The strongest geniuses of the current generation were the most dazzling existences in the Snow Listening Tower. Even for Zhang Shui, who was the last, there were not many people in the North Continent who were more talented than him. Zhang Shui seemed to have sensed the 2 beautiful women's surprise. He calmly smiled and said, "Since you already know my identity, if you trust me, why don't you leave this matter to me, Zhang Shui?" As he spoke, Zhang Xue walked over.